What we are about for business now is awakening. Earth is trying to get rid of those who have brought her down and change the vibration back to a complete magnetic frequency which will put you in tune with the universal prime cosmic creator. If you have pineal pituitary soul spirit affinity. If you don't, it is time to get off the planet, go to its higher heavens, or go elsewhere for your teachings. We don't want that. So as long as we don't want it and we do not channel in those vibrations, we do not raise the frequency to try and match it, we become alien to the planet where we used to be terrestrial. And we bring about the very things that we fear, the anomalies that are coming, the earthquakes, the tidal waves, the hurricanes, the droughts, the seiches, the floods, all because of imbalance. That's nature's way of trying to balance.
The animals waking up. Look. Even the animals are waking up. I don't like to leave it on.
To establish your business using an address other than your home? Wish you had it.
Who is it? Ooh, Earth Madness. That's what I was looking at. That's the video, Dr. Delbert Blair, that I was looking at. And he too said it, what George Fraser said, Dr. George Fraser. They both said it. They psychotic. The people we are around are very psychotic. We can't heal them. It's hurting us. It has destroyed us. We need to know these things. You know, we finna really be tested now, because it sure ain't what we thought it was, and other folks either, white folks either. Ain't nobody still stood up and said, "Hey, why you doing this to black people?" Ain't nobody still said nothing. For all the love. Yep, for all the love. So, you know, we might as well just hang that up. Focus on us. Just focus on us. It's a shame everything our ancestors went through and suffered for, everything being just swept away. The Tuskegee Airmen, like what, 900 trained pilots? You can't even go find them no more. Jackie Robinson. You can't even go find Jackie Robinson anymore. And then there were thousands of airmen. I mean, you know, it was 900 trained pilots, but it was thousands of personnel, you know, like the navigators and stuff like that. They just wiping it off. Like it didn't even mean nothing. Like our ancestors didn't mean nothing. Keep your eyes on the prize. Be on the lookout. Our people, our critical thinkers are coming up with agendas. We got to get on to them and, you know, get on code with them. Get on code with this. This is anti-life and pro-life. What side you on? What side are you on? Oh, let me go get my cup. Yeah, let me go get one of my cups. Honey, this is today versus yesterday. Today versus yesterday. And we don't know what tomorrow gonna look like. This just what, the first week? Well, you know, it's like the first month that he been in there, but it's what, the first week of something special about the political, I don't know. But yeah, we just beginning. So, you know, I hope that, you know, those of us that's out there, letting your family know, at least give them some comfort that in their gifts that they got, they don't even know. Go, because they're gonna be fearful and stuff. We're gonna be fearful, we feel like folks is fear mongering us and stuff, and that's gonna stop us from, facing this, facing this. We're gonna have to face this. Go on and let them know you cook, you clean, you do hair, whatever they do, you love babies. We need daycare. We need daycares. We're gonna have to get our own build up going again. I never thought it would come to this. Whoa, all of this. Oh, honey, let's get our fundamentals out the way and stuff. And we on a new book too. All of this means something for us, Black America. It means something for us. All of this is not just happening for nothing. I don't know about, you at this point, but I'm appalled. I am motherfucking appalled. Who the yeah. We here on Face the Nation. We on Bolden Unchained. We here to assist Black America and Black media. Black media. It's so much, y'all. It ain't just the regular fights that we have with Black America. Now it's like it's other fights that we gotta join in and get on code with and know what do they mean for us, how they gonna affect us. Yeah, remember when he rolled it back to 1965? It's really finna start feeling like that for some of our people and stuff. You gotta let them know. You gotta let them know. Don't be wary, just be wary. Those that can, even if you're in an apartment, you can get solar panels. I do believe you could get portable solar panels. All of them little things and stuff. I ain't been on in a few days. I hope y'all been, on other Black media, at least keeping on code and stuff, because I have. When I'm not on here, I'm still, research. I be resting. You got to rest when you got to. This right here, it ain't no swift race. Time is of the essence. That's true. But, you got to practice that self-care. And this here is a self-care unlike any other that we've ever been through before. Us. This right here, yes. So when we do have to, take a break and stuff, don't beat yourself up about it, because you still working. You still getting stuff done for you. You just got to. And this right here, it ain't no easy task. This ain't no easy task and stuff, but it ain't meant to be, because our ass should never be here. We should have never got to this point. We had plenty of opportunities to just leave motherfuckers alone and do for us. Now we got to hurry up and do for us. I mean, we got to hurry up and do for us. Whatever you can do. Your family, yourself, your community, your people. We can't fail. I can't fail us now. I can't fail us now. No, and one thing I can do is tell the truth. Tell the truth. I'm finna read it. I'm reading it for a reason, because the truth need to be known. We need to know. We need to know however this ends. All of this that they building up, hell, I don't know. I hope y'all been considering, what the fuck is going on. Because I'm about to say, hell, was it a time limit on slavery? Is that what you're trying to do? Because you can tell us that. If that's what the end goal is here. I mean, ain't none of this making sense to me and stuff. I'm just, I want some questions answered. I need us to know that, hey, we in danger. Yeah. Life and mankind and humanity is in danger. Life as we know it is over. Yeah, life as we know. Keep a song in your heart and stay grateful. Because you got to get through this. We got to get through this. Black people got to live. Yeah, we can't succumb to this, whatever it's going to be. And Defiant Lawyers. Y'all, it's a 2-hour video. I done started watching it and stuff. But we're going to go through it and stuff a little bit. It's 2 hours. We're going to read tonight. We're going to get that first chapter, maybe the first 2 chapters of this out the way. But he done put together all of the executive orders that Trump done passed and stuff, and how they affect us. So, we will be learning about that, so we can see what's going on and stuff, possibly before it actually happened and hurt us. So you'll be able to get some, some other sources for yourself and stuff. Because I didn't know, oh, my ancestors. Those that's on food stamps, and stuff, you better start hitting up these food shelves. Start taking your ass. You tell your family, you know, she got all them babies and stuff. Go to the food shelves. You can go, if she ain't working and stuff, she can go every other day. Every day, if she can. She can go, she can make write a little schedule out. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, go to different food shelves and start getting up food and stuff. Cause something going on with food stamps. I don't know. We're gonna find out though. But yeah, everything finna change and stuff. We're gonna have to just be on point. Just try. Once we try, we choose us and we try, the ancestors gonna help us. They gonna let us know we on the right path. You know, it's just that this wasn't supposed to happen. We were never supposed to get to this point. But see, we didn't get away. We didn't get away from white America and do for us. We didn't choose us. We chose them. We let them decide how our freedom, our physical freedom was going to be when we left those plantations. And now, you know, we got our physical freedom, but our mind is fucked up. You see how they flipped it on you? Yeah. So we look at through a spiritual lens. Let's give some shout outs before we maximize right here. Hey there, McKinley. How you doing, McKinley? Yeah, so good to see you. I'm glad y'all here and stuff, and I thank y'all. We're going to get started reading. You know, I've been resting. I've been resting. And you're going to have to rest too, whatever you're doing and stuff. But still, you can watch. I don't care what you're doing and stuff. You just lounging all day and stuff. Put you some black media on and stuff. You just need to hear. You don't need to see everybody all the time. You might be washing dishes. You might be braiding hair, cleaning up and stuff. Because we're going to have to get ourselves retrained. We need to be retrained, y'all. That's it and that's all. Yeah. Let's get to copyright disclaimer. You know I'm spiritual. I'm not religious. I ain't forgave nothing yet, and I'm not forgiving nothing. Anything, everything that happened to my ancestors. I don't know what we finna read right here. I will tell you this. I tried to read the chapter 1. They got to talking about cutting some ears off or something, so I stopped and said I was going to wait. So I'm going to wait. We're going to read it, but I don't forgive nothing. I ain't forgave it yet, and I'm not forgiving it. We got a lot of learning to do. And as for white folks, white America, they the ones need to be healing themselves. They need to make sure that any of this, all of this that's laying within them, waiting to come out on Black America, because see, we finally standing up. We finally standing up for ourselves. And white America need to understand that this right here is them. Everything that they people done put out in the news, on movies, the radio, TV, however you get it. And they done sit here and done sabotaged and done made the black man seem to be the villain. They done projected everything on the black man and the black woman. And it's in the book. It's in the book. They're going to have to face this about themselves and do what's right for them, because we're going to do what's right for us. But, you know, to be here on this same planet together, some things finna change. Some motherfucking things is finna change. I don't give a damn what they take back. Because you can't take this back. Your ass cannot take this back. What you did to my ancestors, and all of y'all act like your ass don't know what your great-great-grandmama did. I don't forgive nothing. I sure don't. Spirit come through. Ancestors, show yourself. Now, we ain't alone. Don't you worry about nothing they ass taking back. You just prepare yourself. You just prepare yourself. Make sure you got what you need for you and them babies. And get you some books. Go on and get you some books. Yeah, we're looking through a spiritual lens right here. Loyalty, resilience, and education. Because we need to know who the hell are we loyal to. All this time, we done been loyal to white America. We done sacrificed everything for them. We done gave them everything. We ain't got no more to give to nobody. So yeah, we're looking through a spiritual lens of loyalty, resilience, because who else? Who else right here, right now? And yeah, our books came in too. I know. Who else survived this? Who else? Right here. All these people that done came over here, done flooded the United States of America. And ain't now one of them shed a tear for what the parent of all people went through. That's basically who you is, the parent of all people, Black America. That's who you are. You see how rebellious their asses is. You see how they treat you. That's why you can't feel no sympathy. All you can do is live and let live and get your ass out the way. That's all you can do at this point right here, honey. Because see, Dr. Deborah Blair, he already done said that the earth, Mother Earth, oh, honey, she waking up herself. She pissed as hell. They done sit here and cut down all her trees. Oh, when you hug a tree, you hug the tree. I hug trees. But, honey, I did not know this. You're supposed to take your legs and wrap it around the tree, too. I ain't lying. That's how you hug a tree. I can't wait to find that tree and hug that tree. Yeah, I might ask somebody to take a picture of me right here. I'm just playing. But, yeah, that's how you hug a tree. Yeah, this is a lot. We learned it through a spiritual lens of education because I didn't know all of this. I went to the 11th grade, and I didn't know all of this. See, they ain't told us nothing. They ain't taught us nothing. Every white person out there, man and woman, they first priority other than their families and stuff, feeding them kids they got and taking care of them kids because it's daytime now. I feel like they don't want to do for themselves. Now they got robots to do everything. Now they got robots to do everything. But I feel like, for all that they have done to sabotage my people, I feel like they should be the main ones out there saying, hey, we need a whole curriculum, one curriculum for one people, Black people, because we done misled them for decades, generations. We have misled them, mistaught them. Somebody should have been saying all this striking and protesting and shit. Somebody should have been saying, hey, what the hell is the curriculum for Black people? Black kids need to know. Where are our books at? Where is our books at? Black kids need to know where they come from. And now, look, the chance is pretty much just slipping through our fingers. So, yeah, we're going to have to tell it. But we might as well tell it all. I am. Tell it all. And this right here is part of it. It shows it's a very big part of it. Everything being exposed. Everything being exposed. And the copyright disclaimer under 107 of the Copyright Act 1976 allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair uses are used permitted by copyright statutes that might otherwise be infringing. Infringing on what? Why? I wonder if something gonna happen with this next. Non-profit educational or personal use tips to balance in favor of fair use. Honey, yeah, our ancestors is. Y'all don't feel them? Y'all better wake y'all asses up. You better tell your family, try to save your family. We need to. Let's look at these. We're going to open these before we get to reading that right there. Because, yeah. I don't know, y'all. This pretty thick right here. I don't know what it's going to be because I didn't have these books. They were just in our books to buy. Get you some notebooks. Yep, get you. And I said I was going to put our books, our, list in here and stuff. Ooh, look. I forgot who that was. Thank you, though, family. Gratitude. Said get medical apathy. I got it. Yep. The Dark History of Medical Experimentation on Black Americans from Colonial Times to the Present by Harriet A. Washington. Harriet A. Washington has unearthed an enormous amount of shocking information and shaped it into a riveting, carefully documented book. Wow, National Book Critics Circle Award winner. Look at that. The knowledge we finna learn in that. I don't know how long we're gonna, be able with our lessons and stuff, but so all over. The way they ripping and yanking shit back. Give us back our stuff then. Everything they ass done stole and took, give it back then. 100 years of lynching. The ancestors. Honey. Yeah, get you a couple of notebooks. Get you a couple of notebooks. Our ancestors want to be remembered. See, they tired of being ignored and hidden. And now they further erasing some more? Oh, no. Mm-mm. No, honey. You better get yourself right, Black America. Yeah, this ain't just what you thought it was. Sure ain't, honey. No. I see that right here, right now. My ancestors ain't finna be forgotten no more. Sure ain't. If you choose the wrong side, you choose the other side, you choose the wrong side. That's just it, and that's all. All out of be well. My sister. Oh, my ancestors. Y'all look, it's so beautiful. Oh, it is so beautiful. Our ancestors. We finna learn about them, their names, where they was at, what happened to them. Where's their family? Their descendants and stuff. What they must have went through. I wonder how many of them changed their names when they left. They ran for their life. And oh my, the delectable Negro. Mm-mm. If you ain't meant to be here, you better get on out of here. Go on over there on Sister Channel or something. I'm just saying. Yeah, you ain't meant to be here, you better get your ass out of here. Ain't no need upsetting yourself. Ain't no need coming in here trying to take up for nobody. No, don't come up in here with no bullshit. That's what you not gonna do. I didn't even know they ate in that turn. I recently, probably within the last 4 months, I guess, it was like, I heard it, but I didn't know that we were talking about Nat Turner. I don't know what I was thinking about, but it just kind of escaped me. It kind of escaped my attention that white folks ate that. Do you know the thoughts I have about that? They ate that man. How many of our others they ate? We know they barbecued us. Yeah, they barbecued us. That's Willie Brown in the book. Where read something at? Over there. That's Willie Brown in that book. On some wood. It ain't even no pages in the book. Straight knowledge. Yeah. Oh, if my teachers is still alive. You didn't prepare my people, none of us, for any of this out here. If you knew about it, you didn't. If you didn't know about it, then damn, who taught you? When you in a position to learn? I don't know how this gonna go, y'all. I might not even have to read all of this. It's just what the ancestors say. I know I need it in my library for me, but I don't know if I got to read all this to us. But I know we need healing, and we need to know why we fucked up. Because we don't know why we fucked up. We don't know why we can't get along. Everybody else, why y'all ain't got nothing. Y'all can't get together and stuff. Why y'all don't get together? And then I don't know why we can't get together except for a funeral. Buy some shoes. Why? Because of this. This why we can't get it together. This why. Stop lying. What white man Bible? Where your white man Bible? This right here is your Bible now, Black America. This is your Bible now. I forgot that white man name that wrote the Bible. But Sister Abigail said, hell, he wrote the book Demonology too. We gonna get that book too. I wrote that down. We gonna get that too. Because you need to quit calling on a cat. Start calling on a dog. Because if you finna go spend your forever and ever more with these same people, and you ain't even thought about it, ain't questioned it, that's all I'm saying. For here on earth, I don't advocate no violence and stuff. I ain't telling you, to not process this, because you got to process it, Cats and dogs get along and stuff. They ain't out there fighting each other and stuff because they different, We just got to call white folks as what they are. They are clanimal. They are clanimal. I guess a part of man and a part of animal. I don't know. Hell, they the one came up with clan. It makes sense to me. They different. They different. They different. Who else? Hell, they even, my ancestors. I just remember they even got the scientists that was in German, the Jews Holocaust. They motherfucking ass. Why they motherfucking ass go get them scientists and bring them over here? Yeah, it's something else I came across. I wrote some notes on it. If I see it again, we'll go into it more thoroughly and stuff. But see, we just got to be able to identify these things. That's it. We just need to be able to identify them so we can make a logical decision. That's all I'm saying. I ain't saying to go out there and let motherfucker know, yeah, you think you finna bite me? You think you finna eat me? Motherfucker, I ain't saying that. I'm just saying be aware and know. And my nephew, your nephew, you know he be by himself. You know his ass be by himself with his white friends and stuff. At least tell his ass, hell, if you feel if your intuition telling your ass, don't go camping, don't go swimming, don't go hiking, don't take your ass out to the cabin, don't go. Please do that. Do that, okay? Because, and it's true, we will tell our kids, don't you take your ass out there with Tyrone. You know how Tyrone motherfucking ass is. I'll give a whole speech about Keisha. It won't say nothing about Karen, Becky, nobody. So yeah, we're gonna warn our babies about the lions, the tigers, and the bears. You might as well warn them about the clanimals. Why the fuck not? You warning your child, Black America. We be warning our kids against Black people. Yeah, we do. We be warning them against snakes and stuff. Don't be out there in the woods and stuff. You might get bit by a snake. We ain't saying nothing about white folks. We ain't said a word or a whisper about white folks. Why not? Because, see, we hurt. We traumatized. We too traumatized. We can't face it. But now you got to. Yeah. You got to now by force. Yeah, this ain't happening for nothing. Sure ain't. Hun, if that's what you thought wrong. I don't know what Dr. Deborah Blair was saying about your dreams and stuff, but y'all pay attention to your dreams too. I don't remember my dreams and stuff, but if I do, my ancestors, can you imagine? Honey, yes. Just we gotta vibrate higher. We gotta get that love. We got to get some love. I love y'all. I love y'all. You my people. It matters to me. It didn't before and stuff, Hell, I didn't know. I thought everybody was all right. Shit, I thought folks were doing what they supposed to do. That's what I thought, but that wasn't the case at all. So now, I need y'all to know that I love y'all. We've been through hell. We ain't out of it. We still in hell. We hurt, we traumatized, we broken, we don't remember. We have no identity. We don't know ourselves. We ain't learned nothing that can help us progress and evolve collectively. And I just need y'all to know that I love y'all. And I do apologize because I didn't know about any of this after I went to sleep. After I went to sleep in life, that was it. It was a wrap. I don't think I ever really thought about us again like that. And so, I just want y'all to know that I do love y'all. When I come through and stuff, I be sincere and I want us to care about us too. Let's love us. Let's love on us and stuff, But for me, it's a little deeper than that because I want us to be free here and in the afterlife. When you die, when we leave this place right here, I want us to be free there too. And from what I'm reading and stuff, it don't seem like it's even logical. It seems like it's a fucking fantasy. I'm just damn. Can't y'all understand? Can't y'all see that these people here, their descendants is out there? Hell, they wasn't here. They claim they ain't done this shit. They ain't done none of this. They claim they ain't done none of it. Ain't none of it still happening stuff, but I beg to differ. Yep, I beg to differ because in 1998, James Byrd was drugged in 1998 on my birthday in Jasper, Texas. I think it was in Jasper, Texas. So, yeah, but, that just let us know that we need to really critique. It's okay to live on this earth together. Everything living together. Hell, is the animals literally going to have to stand up and tell you, Black America, damn, y'all motherfuckers couldn't stand up for y'all. You couldn't save us. You let white folks and everybody, that's who we talking about. White folks. Racial violence in America, United States. We just finished that book. We talking about white folks and Black folks. Any other people that's done hurt my people, it will be revealed. Everybody that's done had a hand in it. What happened to my people? My ancestors. My ancestors is pissed. How? And then y'all gonna sit there and trap them in heaven too. Trap them in heaven with white folks. Emmett Till in heaven with Carolyn Bryant. That's a bunch of bullshit. Y'all gotta stop that shit. Let me tell y'all before we get to read, they were her property. Oh, they was her property. Yeah, they even had to, Dr. Jordan Grass said they even had to come up with a law. Because white folks beat Black kids, just beat them for nothing. Because they couldn't clean and stuff. Who was that? Harriet Tubman, I think? Or was it Soldier of the Truth? One of them, they was a little girl. I get them confused and stuff. When they was a little girl and stuff, and they were like 5 years old, and the master done hired them out. So they get to the white folks' house that done bought them and stuff to clean, and she was just dusting, but she didn't know that the dust would resettle. And the woman just beating her. So white women had a law. But right here, y'all, I read something. This was our very first book. Read something. I ain't never read something. It was just in the library. The answer was just like shit, get books. So I started getting books and stuff. So I got some books, and it was because for now. So whatever you were supposed to do and stuff, you better go on and start back doing it. You better get on it. You sure better, honey, because the ancestors not waiting no more. They can't wait no more. Mother Earth is not waiting anymore. See, this whole futuristic world, it's got to run off of a man-made or a futuristic, I don't know, what is it called? Magnetic field. It's not natural. Earth's magnetic field is natural. So see, all of that they building up, all of that they are building up is going against nature. That's why it's anti-life and pro-life. See? So the cosmos is yeah. Mm-hmm. It's going to get real deep. But right here, y'all, for y'all to understand about heaven, I don't know. You better start talking to folks you know and ask them. I'm just reading about it in the book. If I had a pastor, I would ask him. I sure would, I'm just saying. But William Joseph Simmons, y'all, he incorporated the Ku Klux Klan in 1915 in Atlanta, Georgia, y'all. Him and 15 friends went up on Stone Mountain in Georgia. I thought Stone Mountain had the Akashic Records. And I got a book on Akashic Records somewhere over there. But I thought the Akashic Records were under Stone Mountain. So how in the hell is they on top of Stone Mountain giving a speech? Because he Christian, the Ku Klux Klan that he revised. And he said that, and this was in 1915, on Thanksgiving night. So while you're having your turkey, and if you do remember about the Pilgrims, remember about William Joseph Simmons' ass too. Because Thanksgiving night, his ass was up on that mountain. Yep. And he, I thought he was a loser and shit, but he was a colonel in the army. He was a big man. He was a colonel in the army. He tried to sell insurance. He had some medical training. Like they said, the father of medicine, James Marion, that motherfucker. Y'all think my ancestors is with them? Oh, wait. Don't be a fool and a dummy. Don't. Shit. So, let me get back to this and stuff, because we're going to read tonight. But after all of that and stuff, y'all, he just decided to revive the Ku Klux Klan. He said because he formed a group in response to a spiritual vision of robed horsemen galloping in the sky. Who else is galloping in the sky on robed horses? They got on robe, and hell, I guess the horse got on robes too. The Klan. Who? I don't know. Shit, I believe this book. I do. I believe this book right here, honey, for all you got to say and stuff. My mama taught me not to steal, kill, and destroy. You can't sit there and tell me, oh no, Faith, you wrong with that. No, your ass wrong for that. Shit, that's common sense. Just cause the white man put it in the book, call it the Bible, slap the Bible on it. There you go. You're gonna take your ass right on up there to heaven with it. Behind some pearly white gates. You going behind the gates, that's why they showed you the gates. And that's Jesus right there. Mine. That's Jesus right there. If anybody come back, anybody, honey, they come back for this. They come back for this right here. Stop fooling yourself. Stop lying to yourself. Because see, this whole existence, life itself is because of you. Why you can't see that the beginning and the end and all of this is because of you. And see the greatness in you, the God in you, the goddess in you. That's all you got to do is you got to elevate so we could be at a homeostasis with the earth vibration. That's what we got to do. And see the earth's natural magnetic field and our equilibrium with it. That's what you need. But see, first we got to know why we hurt, why we can't talk to each other. We can't say nothing to each other. You better not say too much. You better gauge us before you even say something. That's why them 4 words, you better ask them. What's your favorite song? I don't know. We got to be creative with us now. But we got to find a way so we can hold us, because we need to hold us through this. We need to hold us through this. Somebody, hell, this summer, get your boom box and stuff. Start playing some Earth, Wind, and Fire, some Commodores. Put it on, please, on your music and stuff. Turn off all that other bullshit, because somebody need to cry through the hood and stuff. You know, we still live in our hood. We still see us. Just put it on, you know. I'm just saying, I want to get me a boombox and just walk down the street shit. I just walk up and down Broadway shit here, hitting in there. Hell, somebody need to cry. I be out there crying by myself, ain't it? No. The ancestors, see, they know. Yeah. So, yeah, this is what this man said, though, y'all. He formed a group in response to a spiritual vision of robe horsemen galloping in the sky, followed by a vision of a map of the United States. Now, if his ass ain't talking about the Ku Klux Klan and the United States and black folks, then what the hell do you think it is? See, that's why I even say you can keep this Bible. Keep it. It done got us a long way. Because, you know, the beginning, when we did get into church and stuff, you know, that little one-room church that we had and stuff, it was sincere. It was all sincere for us. But then when we got into it and stuff, because the white man broke our ass up out of that, told us, if you're going to read this Bible right here, you better steer very clear from them scriptures that y'all won't read and learn about. Them scriptures that say a bastard can't get into heaven. The scripture that say you come out from Babylon. The scripture that say your daughter shouldn't marry their son, and vice versa. So see, and that was the downfall for this right here. But you know, I know we feel like it's done came a long way with us. It's done saved us, and you still right there saying it too. This is my faith. I don't care what faith say, and that's fine. That's fine. Put it under your arm, but you better put this one under your other arm. You better put this, cause honey, he didn't come back. He didn't come back for Mary Turner. He didn't come back for LQ Ivy. He didn't come back for nobody. He didn't come back for Willie Brown. He didn't come Isaac McGee. We just read about Isaac McGee over here in Duluth, Minnesota, crying out to God, to Jesus. Then nobody come back for him. So yeah, keep it. If you must, keep this Bible. Keep it. But you got 2 damn arms, don't you? Put this one under your other arm, because this is the one you need to be paying attention to now. You need to know why you two terrified of each other to come together. It's just as simple as that. It's as simple as that. It ain't got to be so difficult as you making it out to be. But see, the thing is, your ass don't want to be without white America. That's the problem right there with your motherfucking asses. You can't see your life happy with your own people. Now, somebody put on Soul Train or any good movie of ours or something like that, Emma, I don't know, any good movie, Deacon for Defense, Jane Pittman. I like to look at stuff like that, anything, but your ass don't want to look at it. But put on something with white folks or say white folks. Number white, see as far as you can see. You happy with this? Sit down and go to sleep and eat, and you just let the episode play, episode after episode after episode. You got to change your mindset, Black America. You got to change. I do too. I'm still caught in my ways, son. Yeah, hell, after all these damn decades, it'll make me get mad all over again. Sure the fuck do. Like, what the fuck didn't I notice something? That's why you can't be put back to sleep. You cannot be put back to sleep. You're going to find yourself in the worst way. Now, I don't know what y'all going to do about these robots and stuff. There's so many robots, I ain't even started looking at them, y'all. It's different kind of robots. You ain't going to know who a robot here. Motherfucker breath going to be bad. Body going to have body odor and stuff. Like, going to need to shave. Might have hair growing out of it. I don't know. But you better think about something, Black America, because all of this is not for you. All this is not for you. Yeah, we're going to have to, that plan that brother came up with. What was his name? Mr. Straight Facts or something like that. When I see it, I'll call his name out and stuff. And he was like, all these folks, these racist folks need to go down south and stuff. But I want to know when they're going to tear these motherfucking towers down too. Somebody got to address it. Somebody got to address these towers and stuff. Why you put them up anyway, Mayor Fry? I ain't getting no questionnaire coming out and stuff about the towers and stuff that y'all done put up. These 5G towers. I didn't get no questionnaire about how we felt about it. So, that right there, people that's got their positions and stuff need to be addressing these things. Because, see, while us on our basic day-to-day life and stuff, we still fighting like police brutality and wrongful conviction and, miseducation of, our children and stuff like that. And they very important. But we got other fights also. Yeah, them ain't the only ones. There's a lot of them with the housing, medical, and all of them right there. Now we got futuristic fights, I guess. Hell, I don't know it don't seem like no fight to me if we don't wake up. If we don't wake up, because you know what, y'all? With the power that you got and the cosmos and the ecology, the soil, all of y'all together and stuff, honey, you can shut all that shit down here. Just shut that shit down now with your mind. I'm just saying. Hell, you believe that shit they told you in the Bible and stuff, and you can't believe this? For real. Oh, yeah, little faith. I know that's what you said about me, ain't it? Shit. Now, Dr. Ray Hagen's already done said that religion, it paralyzes your analysis. You can't think critically. You done lost contact with factual, historical, spiritual. You done lost contact with all of that because of religion, because of them scriptures your ass been reading and beating into your brain. First of all, our babies is not no sinners. Every day that baby wake up and look at you, just eyes just smiling, drooling everywhere and stuff. So happy to see your ass. And you done sat there. We done sat there because I did too when I was a young mother and stuff. And believe that our babies is sinners because the Bible said that your heart is wicked. My heart ain't wicked. My heart is not wicked, motherfucker. Because if it was, and that wouldn't even be wicked. No, it wouldn't be wicked if I called down my ancestors on every. It wouldn't be wicked, not at all. But see, vengeance ain't mine. That belongs to the ancestors. I'm just going to get my ass out the way. And I advise you to do the same. I'm not going to hold them back. I'm not going to hold my ancestors back. And as for you, us Black American stuff. Oh, you can go on and go over Sister channel if you want to, because we don't need all of you anyway. So, no, we don't need all of you anyway, shit. Nope, we just need a certain percentage. I heard a brother say. Yep, the rest of you and stuff gonna have to just be stirred. Black America need to be stirred now. Everybody been steering our people, just steering us, riding us in the ground and stuff, just dogging us out. And now it's time for us to take the hands, It's time for us to steer ourselves. The mistresses in the making. The mistresses in the making. Look at that. Yeah, that's your girl. Mm-hmm. Yep. Ooh. History, African American history, women's studies. We did read the back of it and stuff. We read the middle of it, the introduction and stuff. They Were Her Property, White Women as Slave Owners in the American South by Stephanie E. Jones Rogers. In holding slave owning women to account, Jones Rogers has provided a brilliant, innovative analysis of American slavery, one that sets a new standard for scholarship on the subject. And that was Elizabeth R. Varon, Varon, from the Washington Post. Well, let's get started, y'all. Well, let me get some shouts out because I'm so glad y'all here. But I'll be here by myself. And anytime you need to go on sister channel and stuff, go on sister channels and, get some knowledge and stuff and come back and let us know where you at and stuff so we can come on your channels and stuff because we got to learn. We got so much catching up to do. Yeah. I mean, if you know how to help us get our garden started and stuff, I want to build a hydroponic system. Then get your channel and let us know how to do stuff like that. I'm just saying, but yeah. Oh, good day, Denise. It's so good to see you. And thank you, Small Fry. Gifted 5, whatever that is. Thank you. I sure appreciate it. And y'all, our cups came in. I gotta go get it tomorrow. Yeah, hopefully, they don't be mad at me. Here goes mine right here. Yes, I sure forgot to. But yeah, our cups came in too. Thank you so much, Small Fry. You just reminded me. Because the perks and stuff. I want to do my perks like I want to do my perks for my people and stuff, And I want us all to have significant, stuff. Look. Oh, shit. I know, right? Shit, I act like hell. We face to face, ain't it? That's all right, though. Let me wipe this off here fast. Look. So, yeah, I don't know how we're going to do it. So I'm going to just send it to you. If it's an easier way, then maybe I'll be able to give you the code. And that way you can go to it and have it mailed to yourself and stuff. I don't know how I'm going to do it and stuff because the little perks that they was talking about like badges. And that's good because, see, I know it's you. Small Fry, thank you. And Kelvin, yeah, I get to know it and stuff. I'm just not technical and stuff. I love the pen and paper. I love the pen and paper. And I really want to see. I know I got 2 cups, right? I be sitting there drinking out all these cups and stuff. Well, what you drinking today? Oh, I'm drinking a little chamomile. Well, what cup is that right there? Oh, this just a little lemon and ginger. Yeah, I be having all these cups and stuff. I know, right? But yeah, let's read and stuff. Yeah, that's y'all where he will come back from. Well, he ain't came yet. Mm-hmm. Yep. Let's separate from him. We might as well. We ain't got no other choice. Yeah. I know, Denise. I love reading. I know. I just wish I knew what to read and stuff. Because I spend most of my life reading like Harlequin romance and shit. Just wasting our time. So, your niece and nephew, your best friend daughter, when she get to reading that Harlequin romance stuff, she love to read. That little girl love to read and stuff. Go on and get her a nice book. Anyone. I got a little small library for the grandbabies. Sure do. Honey, now Shay would love. All you got to do is, everybody know Malcolm. Imagine if you give Shay Betty before X. I'm just saying. We gotta, we gotta inspire our young ones and stuff. Hell, who you think gonna get y'all out of them Tesla cars? It's gonna be the youth. I don't know. We'll be able to get ourselves out of them and stuff if we, get on the equilibrium level with the earth and the cosmos. But we really need our babies and stuff. We need to be able to allow them to experiment and think and create. You supposed to be creating too, me too. See, this whole system, y'all, this whole system done stopped our creation. We ain't here to just work. No, we're here to create and heal our people. We're here to make a better place on this earth. And really, you ain't got but two purposes and stuff, have black babies and heal black people. That's really why we're here. We're here for all that other stuff. That's why you are going through this. That's why black people going through this right here. And we not cursed. That is a lie. You under white folks. That's all that's wrong with black people. We under white folks. White folks are a curse to us. That's the curse your ass is under. I don't do with what you want to. I don't know. I'm just telling you. You once said you don't know. I don't know either. I'm learning too. This is just what I come up with. Now you ain't gonna learn the same thing I'm learning and then try to excuse what's happening. Cause then you supposed to be over there where brother reading it and stuff. Cause it is channels out there that's reading the same stuff, y'all. Y'all the same type of stuff. Yeah, it sure is. And you could go over there with them. That won't bother me at all. Sure won't. But you need to go somewhere so you can start learning this stuff. We can't be fooled about this. No, we're gonna have to wake up at some point. You're gonna have to wake up at some point. I don't know if you want to wake up with Sabrina or you want to wake up with your people. But you just gotta decide. Let's cover this up right here because I'm just so grateful. Thank y'all. Your mistress is in the making. Lizzie Anna Burwell, Burwell, was like many other white girls growing up in slave-holding households in the Linesville, North Carolina area in 1847. She loved flowers and often strolled through her parents' garden with Fanny, the enslaved woman charged with her care. After spending so much time with Fanny, Lizzie Anna developed an intense bond with her. But one day, Lizzie Anna became vexed with Fanny. So she went to her father and demanded that he cut Fanny's ears off and get her, Lizzie Anna, a new maid from Clarksville. Lizzie Anna was 3 years old. I didn't read no more after that. I don't hope she didn't do it, but let's read it. Although young children commonly express displeasure in extravagant, even violent language, the terms they use reflect their environment, and Lizzie Anna's complaint tells us something crucial about hers. During those walks through the garden, and perhaps while observing her parents interact with the enslaved people around them, Lizzie Anna was learning how to be a slave owner. She was coming to understand the obscene logic that made it perfectly acceptable to enjoy the company of her enslaved caretaker in one moment and threaten to mutilate her or buy another slave to take her place the next. In the comfort of her home, she was recognizing that she possessed the power to command others to do as she wished, and her father did little to discourage her from that belief. In fact, he relayed the incident to his sister with an air of convivial, convivial, with an air of convivial amusement, which suggests that Lizzie Anna's aunt also accepted the justification for her niece's behavior. Lizzie Anna was a mistress in the making. The people around her were crucial to her development as such. White Southern girls like Lizzie Anna learned how to be mistresses and slave owners through the instructional process that spanned their childhood and adolescence. Over the course of these formative years, white girls practiced techniques of slave discipline and management, made mistakes and learned from them, modified their behavior to meet various conditions, and ultimately decided what kind of slave owners they wanted to become. It should come as no surprise that many of them wanted to be profitable ones. Slave owning parents were critical to this learning process in two important ways. First, they gave enslaved men, women, and children to their young daughters as gifts on special occasions, like birthdays and baptisms, especially 21st birthdays, holidays, and marriage, or for no reason at all. Here, just let me give you a. They also bequeathed enslaved people to their daughters in their wills. And when human property was transferred to them, these young women came to value the crucial ties between slave ownership and autonomous, stable financial futures. Oh, they was all right long as they had slaves. Wasn't no fear whatsoever. No fear or no care about themselves. We gonna make slaves do it all. And they did. They planned on doing that forever, in case y'all didn't know. Forever and ever and ever. Parents also offered their daughters vicarious lessons in how to own and control enslaved people through their own words and deeds. As young girls watched their parents manage the enslaved people around them, they observed different models of slave mastery and through a process of trial and error, developed styles of their own. Is that what they using on y'all asses now? And you don't know it? Is it? Because see, they had to evolve that. Yeah, well, we're going to have to tweak this up a little bit, but yeah, sister will never know. Yeah, sister won't know at all. That's what happened. Now you can't tell. You can't tell the difference, can you? You will soon, real soon. Yes, I hope you do before it's too late. White Southern girls grew up alongside the slaves their parents gave them. They cultivated relationships of control and sometimes love. The promise of slave ownership became an important element to their identities, something that would shape their relationships with their husbands and their communities once they reached adulthood. That right there, see, slavery was going to be the glue to hold them together, to hold the wife and the husband together. The slavery was going to hold the community together because, see, everybody be on that one accord. See? That's why, see, it matters. On that note, I'm saying it matters that you put your ancestors back in your relationships. Put your ancestors back in your focus, back in your life, in your marriage, your friendships. Put your ancestors back in there. It's time for folks to show themselves. Whoever it irritate that they don't want you to remember and love and call on John Hartfield and Maurice Mays, Jeff Brown, Jim Grant, Mary Turner, Emmett Till, then you know they ain't meant for you. You know they ain't meant for you. You ain't even got to call them. Call Fred Hampton, Fannie Lou Hamer. You call any one of them. Dr. John Henry Clark, Francis Cress Wells, and Neely Fuller. You know, any one of them. Whoever is irritating and stuff, you got to get away from around them. You're going to have to get now. Right now, you ain't got another opportunity to fuck off, Black America. I know I don't. I think we at the end right now. I think we really critical right now. Yeah, and that's for a reason. That, you know, I'm here to tell y'all, time is of the essence. Time is of the essence. What has happened and what Trump is done already passing and stuff, all of these executive orders that we finna learn about and stuff already done happened and stuff. It's time that you cry if you want to. If you must cry about the loss, I cry for our ancestors. Cry for our ancestors and stuff because that's what they struggled for us. They obtained all them things for us. And motherfuckers act like it wasn't shit, it wasn't nothing. So, you know, but yeah, if you must cry to be without, you know, all of that they taking back and stuff, do it. Go on and cry and get it out and stuff. And then you start building up what your people need. You start building what your people need because this time it's going to be totally different. It sure is going to be totally different. Somebody need to tell them, give us all our motherfucking shit they asked us stole. Give everything back. So, yeah, let's read, though. In the colonial period, primogeniture, Primogeniture, primogeniture. That's the practice of leaving all the family property to the eldest son. Primogeniture help parents determine the size and nature of each child's inheritance, or whether a child would inherit at all. During and after the Revolution, however, Americans looked upon primogeniture unfavorably, not only because it disadvantaged many young men and women, but because it was the means by which British aristocrats secured their power and ensured that it remained within their ancestral lines. The newly declared states moved to abolish primogeniture. South Carolina and Delaware abolished it in 1776. Virginia did so in 1785, and every state except Massachusetts and Rhode Island had abolished the practice by 1786. By the end of the century, the historian C. Ray King, Keim, observed equal portions for all children was generally the rule of inheritance. But even before the abolition of primogeniture in these states, individuals could circumvent it by writing their wills in ways that allowed them to bequeath their property however they chose. Slave-owning parents thought very carefully about the kinds of property they would give their daughters at various points in their lives. And one of their most critical considerations was the amount of control their daughters or their daughters' husbands would have over these gifts after marriage. Frequently, parents were more inclined to give their daughters slaves than land, and they often gave them in the expectation that their daughters would take charge of them. Ain't that some shit? Yeah, they'd rather give their kids slaves than give them land. Yeah, and I can hear him now telling them, well, you've watched me your whole life, and you know how to treat them, and you know how to keep control of them, and this is how you'll teach your daughters and sons. And this is just the way things are. And then after we got physically freed and stuff, they altered the teachings. Now, we can't do the harsh things that we would like to do and that have been historically documented as being done, but you still maintain the control. You still maintain the control. You show any discomfort when you see any focus towards their people from the ones in your life, them white folks teaching their daughters and stuff. You let them know that no, we don't have to. You don't have to learn about that and stuff. That's unimportant. We're not like that anymore. It's me and you. It's I don't know. It's a mind manipulation thing. I don't know how they did it. They manipulated your ass. See, all of this evolving and stuff, white folks had to evolve their tactics on you. Y'all made it easy. I have had white friends and stuff, in my life and stuff. I have. I didn't really, I thought black people was okay. So I have had white friends in my lives and stuff, but not like y'all. Not like y'all have. We really went in when we mingled and married. And when you did that and stuff, you'd want to open the door for white women to evolve again so they can hide everything from your ass. And see, that's why whatever displeases white women, you won't do it. You won't play it. You won't say it. You won't see it. It's just how your ass is and shit. You're indoctrinated. I was too. You better wake up, honey. I know you ain't got to pretend no more. You do not have to pretend no more. Enslaved people often knew that they would be given to their owners' daughters well before the transfer of ownership took place. Bacchus White, Bacchus, Bacchus White recalled that his owners always said, ALWASSED, always said that he was to belong to Miss Kathy. Agnes James' master chose her as a gift for his daughter, Janie Little, because as James remembered, he give all his daughters one of us to have a care for them. Just as enslaved people came to anticipate the transition from one owner to the next, young white girls did too. As they planned their daughters' futures, some slave-owning parents preferred to give their daughters female slaves, and they began doing so when their children were only infants. Well, ain't that a bitch? There your sinner right there. That's your baby sinner right there. The parent done gave the baby when it was an infant. It's right there in the book. It's right there in the book. That's your baby sinner right there. I'm just saying. You can't critically think because religion got your mind. Where Dr. Ray Havens at? Where is Dr. Ray Havens at? Where my receipt at? You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. Don't sit here and come up in here with all that and stuff because you ain't supposed to be in here. You need to start learning this right here. Here it is right here. You can't think. You can't think about nothing. You done religious statements and church doctrines that cause you to adopt a belief system that has resulted in your loss of contact with what's real, factual, historical, and spiritual. So see, you don't even know. You don't even know. You can't even analyze because Dr. Ray Higgins also said, and he's a psychologist. So any problem you got with that, any problem you got with this, you need to take it to, yeah. I'm just saying, this is what it is right here. He said that religion, the true purpose of religion. Did you know religion had a true purpose? I mean, hell, you just been studying the book. Did y'all know? I thought the true purpose of religion, and I ain't never read the Bible. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't never read it. But I thought that the true purpose was to take you to heaven. That's the true purpose. Because you already know your mama and your daddy and grandmama already done taught you don't kill, steal, and destroy. You just doing that bullshit because you wasn't thinking. And shit, your ass just out there like you had no home training and stuff, acting like white folks. Yeah, we all did it. We all did it when we were young and stuff. Well, white folks say, oh, they boys just being boys and stuff, Yeah. But Dr. Ray Higgins said that the true purpose of religion, y'all, religion may be defined as a cultural, psycho-philosophical vehicle of spiritual and intellectual enslavement. Yeah, that's what Dr. Ray Higgins said. A cultural, psycho-philosophical vehicle, it's on the move, of spiritual and intellectual enslavement. The vehicle on the move, that crazy ass psycho-philosophical vehicle, that's on the move. The spiritual and intellectual of your spirit and intellect, it ain't going nowhere. It's like this. It's like that. Because you paralyzed. Yeah. Yep. It said it right there. A psycho, a cultural, meaning all of them. Now, it might be them garden snakes in there that Malcolm X was talking about. Them garden snakes might be in the midst with all of them. That's all I can figure. Yeah. We ain't going to cut the head off the garden snakes, but we just don't need to have nothing to do with them. Get your ass out of the field. It's as simple as that. Religion may be defined as a cultural, psycho-philosophical vehicle of spiritual and intellectual enslavement. Yeah. Your spirit and your intellect is enslaved because that vehicle, that crazy-ass vehicle, done enslaved you. That's what it said. And then he said that religion got two outcomes. For the person that created it, and you didn't create religion, stop lying. White folk did. They took some stuff from the hieroglyphs and put in the Bible and stuff, the 10 Commandments. I got the 42 laws of my eye somewhere, and they are very similar. Yes. White folks is crafty. They manipulative. They'll fool your ass like they done did. And he said it's two outcomes. The first one is the cultural and racial superiority of the people who created it. It ain't you. That's not you. I know you said that the Bible said he who was last shall be first, and that may be very well true. That just might be true. I don't know. I know one thing, though. You see it in your eye. Yeah, Dr. Francis Cress Welsing already said it since we was a baby. And we seen that white picture, that white Jesus and stuff. It's automatically, that's who we give that racial superiority to. That's who we give that honor, that salute to the white man. And I know it said in the Bible that he got bronze skin and kinky hair like mine and stuff, but that ain't what your mind sees. That's not what your mind's eye see. Your mind's eye see Jesus Christ, Cesareo Borgia. And see, that was the Council of Nicaea. I got something to hear about that just a little bit, but that's when they created all of that white Jesus and stuff, you know. But anyway, let's finish this right here. Now for you, black people, because, you know, this was forced on black people. We're going to read about that in one of these books probably. It was forced on black people. For you, it means the paralysis of analysis to those who believe in it. And you believe this with all your might. You believe this with everything in you, Black America. And I know it hurt. It's going to hurt. It's going to hurt. Just take what you need from it. Take what you need from it. You need to start learning about them scriptures in your Bible that's telling you to come out from these people. You know, let your people know the truth. You know, I mean, y'all the one done just totally ignored them scriptures in the Bible that was telling you. And then you want to act like, oh yeah, we under a curse. When you know in your heart, you probably ain't never even asked yourself or your pastor in Bible study and stuff, why we ain't reading about slaves obey your master? It's in somebody's Bible. I don't know what scripture it is, but let me see if we got it on our receipt over here. I don't think so, but why y'all ain't questioning them things right there? Oh, but then some churches have, and then they excused it away. It was some excuse or something, you know, about that. But I don't remember stuff. I really wasn't tuned into it then and stuff. But it's like, you know, wow, for real? That's how you feel? That's simple, huh? Well, what about the other scriptures that bastards can't get into heaven? Ain't that what white folks had planned their whole enslavement on? Bastards. Didn't nobody have no marriage. Ain't that what they call the bastard to a baby that ain't got a married, that ain't within a marriage, you know, union or something like that? So yeah, you know, all of this stuff right here, you should be thinking about it, because you're gonna have to go spend the rest of forever with these people. And I just feel like, no, I'm not. I am not, and I'm gonna tell my people too. I don't think you need to. You better keep going. You better bypass heaven. You better bypass heaven, honey. From what that man said in Red Summer, I know what your Bible said. I know what your Bible said. Now you need to read what black folks' Bible say. That's what you need to do for your own sake. You got to start thinking for you. If it make you feel any better, just ask your higher power. Where are you supposed to go for your forever and ever and ever? Just do it. Just ask them. So that way you won't feel like you blaspheming. You know, you won't feel like you blaspheming, because truly, that's all I had to do after months. I felt like I was blaspheming. I ain't never even read the Bible. And I was like, damn, I feel like, you know, shit. But I just felt like I was blaspheming and stuff. But I don't think I got it on here. About slaves obey your master. But anyway, when we get to that part, we're gonna find it anyway. Yeah, I need a bigger Bible in there, I don't. I know, right? But yeah, let's continue reading and stuff. I just wanted to tell you what Dr. Ray Hagan said, because your mind is trapped in this right here because of religion. Dr. James Small, Professor James Small, one of them, said that it don't even matter which religion you got, which religion you claim. You claim all of them. They are, and I feel like hell, is they all taking you to heaven? Because that's why I'm like, hold up, wait a minute now. Wait a minute. Y'all better start talking. You better start asking some questions. You better start. Ain't nobody coming to heaven to get y'all ass and stuff. Not after you learned. Not after you know. Isaac McGee didn't know in Duluth lynchings. Isaac didn't know about the afterlife. No, he was calling on God and Jesus. Where I'm from, down south, we didn't know about y'all. Who should win? Yahweh. I just hear y'all calling on them and stuff. You know, and then there's Buddha and Zoroastrianism. It's a whole lot of different deities and stuff, you know. But for us, for Black Americans and stuff, you know, where I'm from is Jesus and it's God. and that's it, and that's all the stuff. But the whole thing is, all of them, where they taking you to? I mean, if they all taking you to heaven and stuff, ain't anybody ask why you got gates in heaven? It's like you're supposed to be free. Who got the keys to this gate? Huh? And when you gonna get to come out? That's the question. I'm just like, yeah. But let's read though. Just ask some questions. That's all I would be doing and stuff. I just ask my ancestors. Yep, cosmic energy, because I don't my cosmic energy, my higher power don't have a name anymore. It's just cosmic energy. It's too expansive. It ain't just one universe, y'all. It's a multiverse up there. Initially, I thought it was 12. This whole time I thought a multiverse was 12, but I think a multiverse might be 7. And that's fine. I prefer the 12 though. For real, I do. I mean, I want to get as far away from white people as I can when my human experience is over. I don't want to see another white person in the afterlife. No, I'm tempted to believe that the spiritual battle that's going on in the cosmos is because some white person done left the first universe and tried to go up there in the ethers. Yep, that's not what's gonna happen yet. What is this y'all be saying? As it is below, as it is up and below, or something like that. Y'all be saying it's a spiritual battle going on. Y'all start detoxing and stuff. Everything, every little bit gonna help us. I know. We had no idea, but let's read. As they planned their daughters' futures, some slave-owning parents preferred to give their daughters female slaves, and they began doing so when their children were only infants. In 1836, when Mary Fuller Knight, Knight, was 8 months old, her father executed a deed of gift that he gave her an enslaved female named Rose, as well as any children Rose might have in the future. When the slave owner and future abolitionist Sarah Grimke, Grimke, was a child. Wait a minute, was he in the other book that we just finished reading? Grimke, maybe it was a different name. Her parents gave her a little girl whom they bought out of a slave ship. Fillmore Hancock's grandmother was given to Mrs. as her own the day the grandmother, was born. Remarkably, Hancock recalled, old Mrs. was only a year old then. Yeah, that's what he said. Old Mrs. was only a year old then, DEN. Multiple generations of slave owners adhered to this inheritance practice. Charity Bowery's first mistress made it a point to give one of Bowery's mother's children to each of hers. Charity eventually belonged to her mistress's second daughter, Elizabeth. Mrs. William Keller owned Sarah Thompson Chavis, and she and Chavis gave birth to daughters around the same time. When Mrs. Keller's daughter Julia was still a young girl, Mrs. Keller gave her Chavis's daughter Amy as a daily gift. These kinds of property transfers continued into the daughter's adolescence. Slave owners occasionally gave their female family members human property in ritualized affairs that helped mold their young daughter's development as slave owners from early on. The elders would join the hands of young heiresses together with those of the slaves they were receiving and tell them that the enslaved people in question were their property forever. Occasionally, the wills of slave-owning parents and kin divided their property equally among their heirs, but did not specifically allocate certain enslaved people to their individual family members who were entitled to portions of their estates. The wills would include statements such as share and share alike, and would leave decisions about equitable distribution up to the executor. Executor. Under these circumstances, estate administrators would arrange drawing ceremonies. One formerly enslaved person described how the drawings worked. When my old mistress died, she had 4 children. When Christmas come, we had to be divided out, and straws were drawn with our names on them. the first straw was drawn, you would get that darky. Miss Betsy drawed mother and drawed me. Prosperity. Everyone drawed 2 darkies and so much money. The records that slave owners left behind corroborate this narrator's reflections. In the fall of 1844, John Devereux's executors held a drawing during which they portioned out Devereux's slaves to his widow, his daughter, and his 2 sons. The groups of enslaved people that each of the heirs drew were documented in the records. It is noteworthy that Devereux's married daughter, Frances, received the largest portion of his estate. For reasons that remain unclear, these kinds of estate divisions also occurred when slave owners were still alive. Sally Crane did not understand why her master's property was being divided because he wasn't dead nor nothing, but nonetheless she failed to miss Evelyn, his daughter. These affairs were not simply for show. The property transfers and acquisitions that took place were significant events in white girls' lives. And even at the very early ages, these young women assumed partial responsibility for managing the enslaved people their parents and kinfolks had given to them. As soon as the transfer was complete, the enslaved men, women, and children would take care of their new owners in whatever way was necessary. When Jenny Fitz was just a girl, her owner gave her to his daughter Annie. I can remember when the master takes me to Miss Annie and says, I's giving you to Missy. You just do what she tells you to. Taking her master's charge seriously, Fitz attended to her young mistress's every need and want. I's with Miss Annie all the time and tend to her. I's with her night and day. I sleep at the foot of her bed. I keep the flies off her with the fan, gets her drink and sitch, goes places for to get things for her. When she am ready to go to sleep every night, I rub her feet. From Annie's head to her toes, Fitz sure tend to miss it. Jenny Fitz undoubtedly had to learn how to complete many of the tasks that her mistress asked her to perform. But Annie had to develop some important skills too. She had to learn how to be a mistress, and she thought self-consciously about what kind of slave owner she would be. Fitz often heard her young mistress say, I sure am going to take care of my nigger. And by Fitz's measure, she sure did. Ownership and control went hand in hand. And for white girls who had slaves, developing techniques of management and discipline was an important aspect of their early training. For those who were newly inducted into slave-owning communities, the plantation was a school where they learned how to be propertied women. According to the historian John Cashin, Cashin, young white men learned the fundamental lessons in exercising power from older white men. But white girls learned these lessons too. Slave-owning parents allowed their daughters to assume the roles of instructor and disciplinarian early on. White parents also taught their daughters the basic principles of slave ownership through naming practices and by requiring enslaved people to use salutations that conferred respect when addressing them and their children. Salutations. See, that's why I've been saying it, y'all. Y'all been hearing it. We got to evolve our greetings to each other. Y'all say grand rising and what's the other one? Shalom. Yeah, and peace. I say good day and gratitude, but you get what I'm saying. That's because where I'm from, I ain't used to saying grand rising. You know, I'm not used to saying grand rising and shalom. I don't even know what it means. So I say ashe, you know, quite a bit and stuff. But yeah, we just got to evolve our greetings with each other. Yep, all this good morning. No, that's old. That's like our brother said, Black Lives Matter is so insignificant. It's so minuscule. Black Lives Matter. Should have been, but he said it. He said it should have been Black Lives Are Irreplaceable. You know, something majestic. like you are. But yeah, I just wonder what was that? The salutations they talking about. Let's read. As the historian Ann Paton Malone, Paton, observed, some owners forbade slaves to name their own children. And in a not so subtle way, slave owning adults indicated future ownership when they named enslaved infants after their own children, or even allowed their children to name enslaved infants, as Daniel and Cornelia Johnson allowed their daughters to do. Betty and Mary Johnson named Betty Curlet, Curlet, and her sister Mary after themselves. On one occasion, when Betty's young mistress was trying to teach her the alphabet, Betty became distracted. Her mistress expressed disappointment in Betty's behavior because she thought it was an indication of Betty's lack of intelligence. She regretted the fact that Betty was her namesake and declared to her mother, "If she's going to be mine, I want her to be smart." When Betty began to crochet skillfully, her young mistress's pride was restored. Slave owning parents also forced enslaved adults and children to use the salutations master and mistress when referring to their children from the moment the infant was born. Louise Martin, an FWP interviewer, claimed that enslaved people had to call white boys and girls master and mistress only after they reached the age of 12. But some slave owners required enslaved people to greet white infants and toddlers in this way to exercise their dominance, their control. The objective in requiring such deference was simple. Slave owners wanted enslaved people to recognize the power that white children possessed over them, even at the time of their birth. George Womble, Womble, asserted that his owner wanted the slaves he owned to hold him and his family in awe. He compelled them to go and pay their respects to the newly born white children on the day after their birth. They were required to get in line, and one by one they went through the room and bowed their heads as they passed the bed and they uttered, "Young master," or if the baby was a girl, they said, "Young mistress." Enslaved people paid a high cost if they failed to use these salutations. Rebecca Jane Grant would not call her mistress's young son master, Master. One day, her mistress wrote a note and asked her to deliver it to a local store clerk. The clerk prepared the package in accordance with the note's instructions and gave it to Grant to deliver to her mistress. When she returned, she quickly learned what was inside: a cowhide strap about 2 feet long. Her mistress immediately pulled the whip out of the package and began to beat Grant with it. She did not know why her mistress was beating her until she exclaimed, "You can't say Master Henry, miss." Grant quickly responded, "Yes'm, I can say Master Henry." She bitterly remarked to her interviewer, "Master Henry was just a little boy about 3 or 4 years old. Wanted me to say master to him, a baby." When another formerly enslaved woman forgot to refer to her mistress's 8 or 9-month-old daughter as Miss, her mistress put her in a stock and beat her. While she was in the stocks, the woman twisted her leg until it broke, and even then continued to beat her until she was satisfied her point had been made. Sometimes the punishment went further. One enslaved woman recalled that when you called your master's children by their names, they would strip you and let the child beat you. It didn't matter whether the child was large or small. They always beat you till the blood ran down. Teaching enslaved children to call their owners, offspring, master, or mistress also served to educate white slave-owning children about the difference from and superiority to all African Americans, regardless of age, and the deference that all African Americans had to show them. Beyond this, compelling and permitting white children to reinforce their superiority through bloodletting discipline allowed the children to practice the more brutal manifestations of mastery that might prove useful later on in their lives when they came to own their own slaves. As they were growing up, slave owners' daughters generally thought of and treated enslaved children as playmates and companions. But these future slave owners eventually came to realize that the African American children were far more. Enslaved children were their property, and they treat them as such. At age 3, newly arrived in Georgia after having spent her earlier years in Britain, Sarah Butler quickly grasped the distinction between slavery and freedom and some of the privileges accorded to those who were not in bondage. Sarah was the daughter of Pierce Meese Butler, Mease, the scion of a wealthy Georgia family, and the famed actress and writer Frances Ann Fanny Kemble, Kemble. In a letter to her friend Elizabeth Sedgwick, that name was in one of them other books too, Sedgwick. Frances Kemble recorded an exchange between the young Sarah and Mary, an enslaved chambermaid, who was charged with her care. During the exchange, Sarah told Mary that some persons are free and some are not. Sarah established her own unbound status by telling Mary that she, Sarah, was a free person. She's a free person. Then she paused and waited for a reply. When she did not get one, Sarah repeated her assertion. I say I am a free person. Mary, do you know that? Finally, her chambermaid responded, yes, missus. And the little girl continued, some persons are free and some are not. Do you know that, Mary? And again, Mary replied, but this time with her own understanding of the subject. Yes, missus, here. I know it is so here in this world. Ooh, could that be insinuating heaven? She said, yes, missus, here. I know it is so. Here, right here. Some people free and some not. I'm just saying. New to the plantation setting, Sarah was discovering a fundamental distinction between herself and the woman her father owned, and she sought to communicate and reinforce that difference. In this brief conversation, Sarah drew the line between free and unfree, between the powerful and the disempowered. She placed herself on one side of that line, ensured that Mary knew she was on the other side, and implied that Mary must not cross it. Despite, or perhaps because of, her early immersion in slaveholding culture, Sarah Butler rejected her father's pro-slavery views later in life. Oh, he changed his mind? Must have been having nightmares and stuff. Oh, wow. And how old was this little girl again? She was still young. I said she was at least about 5, maybe. They said she was a little girl. No wonder they got such a fucked up, grandiose attitude about themselves, don't they? I'm just so privileged about themselves. About how to ask their motherfucking ass. And who the fuck is you supposed to be? Elizabeth Sedgwick? I'm just saying. Slave owning girls also made it clear that they had the power to claim other human beings as their property when they selected specific enslaved children to serve them. When Betty Cofer was born, her master's daughter Ella was only a little girl, but she nevertheless claimed Cofer as her slave shortly after the child's birth. They played together and grew up together. Eventually, Cofer became Ella's personal servant, waiting on her and standing behind her chair during meal times and sleeping beside her on the bedroom floor. This selection process also happened in reverse. When Letitia M. Burwell, Burwell, and her sister visited the quarters where her family's 100 slaves lived, she claimed to have heard the youngest slaves quarreling with each other about who should be his or her mistress. In her will, Elizabeth Onion stipulated that the enslaved people she owned could choose which of her children they would serve after her death. Wow. Two of the enslaved people she owned chose to live with and serve her daughters. White girls also made claims of ownership in public and in conversations with enslaved people. Ella Washington's most grown mistress publicly asserted her ownership after she learned that her uncle-in-law was trying to sell Ella at auction. A formerly enslaved woman named Melinda recalled that her young mistress would frequently tell her, "When I get big and get married to a prince, you come with me and tend to all my children." When her mistress married Honor Dufour, Honore, Honore Dufour, Dufour, she took Melinda with her as part of her new household. As Southern girls, young white women thought about how enslaved people would fit into their lives, not just as playmates or companions, but as property. And when they were old enough, they turned their imaginings into reality. Young white girls began to learn about and practice different management and disciplinary strategies, which helped them develop and refine the skills of slave mastery that they would need once they became mistresses of their own households. Fathers frequently imparted their wisdom about slave discipline to their daughters at second hand, but they also allowed them to participate in such brutality firsthand. In 1863, Solomon Bradley, who was formerly enslaved in South Carolina, told the American Freedmen's Inquiry Commission about a man named Mr. Farby, Farrarby, Mr. Farby, who had committed violent acts against his enslaved cook in the presence of his daughters. This woman had burned the edges of his family's waffles, and upon discovering her misdeed, he took her outside and whipped her. Each time she screamed too loudly, he kicked her in the mouth. After he finished whipping her, he lit a candle and poured the melted wax onto her wounds. Throughout the entire ordeal, Farby's daughters were looking at all this from a window of the house through the blinds. When a slave owning parent's brutality caused the death of an enslaved person, evidence of what his or her daughters had witnessed and what they thought about the most violent. When a slave owning parent's brutality caused the death of an enslaved person, evidence of what his or her daughters had witnessed and what they thought about the most violent forms of slave discipline might make its way into the courtroom. The testimony offered in the case of State of Georgia versus Green Martin provides insight into how young girls in slaveholding households understood the relationships among slave mastery, discipline, and violence. On May the 9th, 1857, Alfred, a 12 or 13-year-old enslaved boy who was living in Washington County, Georgia, allegedly told Godfrey Martin, the son of his master, Green Martin, to kiss his derriere. Over the course of 3 hours, Green and Godfrey Martin beat Alfred to death. On at least 2 occasions, Green Martin straddled Alfred, choked him, and threw him on the floor. Godfrey poured water on Alfred to prevent him from fainting. Then, after Green was done, Godfrey fetched a saddle, commanded Alfred to kneel on all fours, placed the saddle on his back, and sat on him for a quarter of an hour. After doing so, he beat him with a stick, kicked him and threw him on the ground, and finally dragged him about the yard. Although most southern states had laws that allowed slave owners to punish their slaves with impunity, even if such discipline led to death, such legislation often barred slaveholders from punishing enslaved people with malice. Many of these laws also delineated in minute detail the instruments slaveholders could lawfully use to punish enslaved people. If they used methods or tools that did not meet the specifications outlined in these laws, they could be punished themselves. Someone in Green Martin's slaveholding community must have considered his actions abhorrent enough to report him to the local authorities, because Martin soon found himself charged in Alfred's murder. Martin was convicted and sentenced to execution by hanging, but he appealed to the Georgia Supreme Court, and the justices agreed to review his case. Green Martin's 3 daughters, at least 2 of whom were minors, had witnessed much of the violence their father committed and testified about what they saw in court. Mary Martin, who was 16 at the time of her deposition, saw her father and brother choking, kicking, and whipping the boy. Punishment that she said was continually kept up until the boy's death. Her sister Sarah also saw them abuse Alfred while she was sitting on the piazza, and as she passed frequently from the yard into the house. The eldest daughter, Catherine, saw the beating too. The Martin sisters did not know how Alfred died. They just knew that an hour before sunset he was dead, lying face down and naked in their yard. The sisters also corroborated the claim that Godfrey and Green had beaten Alfred because of his alleged words to their brother. We might think that such brutality, which led to the death of an enslaved boy whom they probably grew up with, would have disturbed the Martin sisters or compelled them to intervene. But according to Catherine, no one attempted to interfere during the events. She further testified that she did not go to the boy, but saw him while passing, and he was naked. Why did the Martin girls choose to keep out of the affair? Was it fear of the Martin men? Not necessarily. Catherine and Sarah said they were a bit afraid of their father and brother, but the court clearly did not find them convincing. Judge J. Lumpkin, who delivered the majority opinion, which reversed the lower court's guilty ruling, stated that the Martin sisters were the unwilling but not affrighted witnesses to this murder. Mary Martin claimed that she was not particularly afraid of her father or her brother and chose not to pester either because she did not want to and because she knew she was not able to do any good. This 16-year-old girl, who was not much older than Alfred at the time of his death, knew that the boy was probably going to die. Her father told her so. But even this was not enough to sway her. Ironically, another witness, a 15-year-old white boy named John A. Bedgood, Bedgood, who was visiting the Martin estate at the time of Alfred's beating, was so frightened by what he saw that he went to a neighboring plantation to avoid seeing anymore. Clearly, not all white Southern boys were acculturated to the violence of slavery, but both boys and girls were receiving instruction in it. Oh, he got used to it after that. They just had to tell him that's how things was. That's how we do things and stuff. It's part of life, and everybody accepted. He got used to it. Don't you believe that bullshit? Yeah. While many slaveholding parents tried to shield their children from the brutality they and members of their communities perpetrated against enslaved people, many others, like Green Martin, saw no need to do so. After years of exposure to such violence, the Martin sisters were apparently immune to it. They sat on their piazza and went about their daily routines, which frequently took them through the yard where their brother and father were torturing Alfred to death. They spoke of seeing the sunset and eating supper as Alfred lay in their yard, battered, naked, and dying. The Martin sisters' conduct suggests that this sort of violence was part of their daily lives, as they exhibited a level of indifference to Alfred's suffering that many slave owners and their employees found necessary in their interactions with and control of enslaved people. And they exhibited a level of indifference to Alfred's suffering that many slave owners and their employees found necessary in their interactions with and control of enslaved people. When slave owning girls witnessed scenes of this kind, they could respond in a number of ways. While it was happening, they could interfere or they could choose inaction, as the Martin sisters did. Later, they might reject violence altogether or adopt less brutal techniques toward their own slaves, or they might embrace their fathers' and their brothers' style to have discipline. Young women like James Carey's mistress chose to do the latter. James Carey's mother had nurtured her master's children for much of their young lives. One evening, she and one of the master's daughters had a disagreement about dinner. The master's daughter struck Carey's mother, and she retaliated by pushing the girl, who fell on the floor. When Carey's master came home, the daughter told him what happened. The master called Carey's mother outside, beat her 15 or 20 times with a hickory rod, and then called his daughter and told her to take her satisfaction out of her. And she did beat her until she was satisfied. This young white girl and the enslaved woman who had cared for her learned at least 2 important lessons that day. This young white girl and the enslaved woman who had cared for her learned at least 2 important lessons that day. They came to understand that there was no inherent chasm between violence and ladyhood in everyday life, even in the eyes of white patriarchs. They also learned that the intimacies that might have been forged between them over the years made no difference to the power that their society accorded to this young white girl over her racial inferiors. In fact, it was that power that made such cross-racial intimacies possible in the first place. As mothers, white slave-owning women were ideally positioned to teach their children about different methods of slave management and discipline. And they offered their daughters and their sons lessons on how to interact with and control enslaved people. Tynes Kendricks, Tines, Kendrick's mistress, owned both the slaves and the land on which they lived, and she determined to manage her estate without her husband's interference. As a consequence, Kendrick said that her mistress's husband, Arch, didn't have much to say about the running of the place or the handling of the niggers. Kendrick's mistress enlisted her son's help instead, and she taught him everything he knew about operating a large estate profitably and managing the slaves who worked it. Kendrick recalled that the son got all he meanness from old Miss, and he sure got plenty of it too. In a striking role reversal, Louis Cartwright's master asked his own mother to whip Cartwright when he refused to be beaten without a fight. While the master's decision might have been guided by the idea that most enslaved men would not dare hit a white woman, it is also possible that his mother was a far more effective master, and her ability to command obedience from Cartwright and other slaves reflected that. So that's who y'all got at home with y'all, huh? Really, she keeping you in line? My brothers, on occasion, I'm just saying, on occasion, slave-owning mothers and daughters disciplined enslaved people together. When Henrietta King was about 8 or 9 years old, she was responsible for emptying her owner's chamber pots. When she went to collect the pot in her mistress's room each morning, she noticed that a piece of candy would be left on the washstand. She knew that her mistress had left it there as a test to see whether she would take it, and at first she resisted. But after several days, King yielded to the temptation. Her mistress, King claimed, kept the people who labored in her home in a state of near starvation. King's mistress noticed that the candy was gone and questioned her. When she denied stealing the candy, the mistress began to whip her. King refused to remain still, so the mistress grabbed her by the legs and pinned her head under the rocker of her chair while her young daughter whipped her. For approximately an hour, a veered King, her mistress rocked back and forth on her head while her daughter beat her with a cowhide. The constant pressure from the rocking chair crushed the bones in the left side of King's jaw. After the beating, she could not open her mouth, and the left side constantly slid sideways to the right. Her mistress called a doctor, but after examining her, he determined that nothing could be done. Her face was irreparably mutilated. Her mistress never brutalized King again, but her disfigurement was disquieting, and the mistress was so disturbed by it that the family decided to give King to a female cousin, who King claimed treated her kindly. But the motherfuckers couldn't give her freedom. I don't forgive nothing. I sure don't. Y'all don't take your ass to heaven with these folks. It's clear that this event affected the rest of King's life. Oh, wait a minute, let me back up. This one act of brutality affected the rest of Henrietta King's life. She could not chew, so she was forced to consume liquids, stews, and soup. The teeth on the left side of her face never grew back. When children saw her disfigured face, they either laughed or cried. Others would stare at her, wondering what devil got in and made me born this way. King also had to contend with encounters with her mistress's children and grandchildren, who apparently knew what happened. On one occasion, when King crossed paths with her former mistress's granddaughter in town, she got the feeling that the young woman was so ashamed that she crossed the street and pretended that she didn't see her. It's clear that this event affected the rest of King's life. But what about her mistress's daughter? If the testimony of formerly enslaved people offers any evidence, we can be assured that in one way or another, this experience affected the way she treated the slaves who came under her control later in life. Not all slave-owning mothers taught their daughters to use brutality when dealing with their slaves. As young girls began learning how to manage enslaved people, their mothers occasionally reprimanded them for employing brutal tactics. When Elsie Cottrell, Cottelsie, Cottrell, Cottrell, when Elsie Cottrell saw her daughter Martha abusing an enslaved adolescent, she interrupted her and said, according to her former slave Henry Gibbs, don't you know you would never have a nigger with any sense if you bumped their heads against the wall? Looking back, Gibbs believed that his mistress's daughter engaged in this practice because she was young and didn't know no better. But Elsie wanted Martha to hone her methods of slave mastery in ways that would preserve these enslaved people's usefulness in the long run. White mothers often found their children to be willing pupils who easily absorbed their lessons in slave mastery. But some children clashed with their mothers over the best way to deal with slaves. Mary Armstrong's mother belonged to a couple whom she described as the meanest two white folks that ever lived. In Armstrong's estimation, her mother's mistress was particularly cruel. She thought that old Polly was the devil if there ever was one. And one incident in particular brought her to this conclusion. Polly beat Armstrong's 9-month-old sister to death because she wouldn't stop crying. Years later, Polly's daughter, Olivia, eventually came to own Mary Armstrong. During one visit to Olivia's marital home, Polly tried to beat the 10-year-old. Armstrong retaliated by picking up a rock about as big as half your fist and hitting her right in the eye. She busted Polly's eyeball and told her that was for whipping her baby sister to death. When Armstrong told her young mistress what she had done, Olivia said, well, I guess Mama has learned her lesson out at last. Well, I guess Mama has learned her lesson at last. After years of watching her mother abuse and in at least one case murder the family's slaves, Olivia had chosen a different approach to managing the people she owned as a result. While Mary Armstrong described Olivia's parents as mean and cruel, she characterized Olivia in a starkly different way. She was kind to everyone, and everyone just loved her. Despite her presumed training, Olivia allowed her slave to defend herself against her own mother. Clearly, she was making her own decisions about what kind of slave owner she wanted to be. Of course, not all young slave-owning women diverged so significantly from the methods that had worked for their mothers. Some employed the same tactics, only milder in intensity. As Jenny Brown prepared for her upcoming marriage, her parents gave her a pick of their slaves. Elizabeth Sparks was among them. As Sparks and several other enslaved women helped their young mistress get dressed for the day, she remembered her mistress asking them, "Which of your niggers think I'm going to get you when I get married?" They all responded, "I don't know." Then suddenly she turned and looked at Sparks, pointed a finger at her and said, "Yeah." Sparks were deeply relieved when Brown selected her because Brown was a good woman who would slap and beat you once in a while, but she weren't no woman for fuss fighting and beating you all day like some I know. She was too young when the war ended for that. Although Brown was prone to inflict physical violence when she deemed it necessary, her mother was far more severe in the forms of punishment she used, beating her slaves with a broom or a leather strap or anything she could get her hands on without any legitimate cause. Brown's mother would also manufacture reasons to beat her slaves. She would make Sparks' Aunt Carolyn knit all day and well into the night, and if she dozed off, Brown's mother would come down hard across her head with a switch. Sparks remembered that she'd give the cook just so much meal to make bread from, and even if she burned it, she'd be scared to death because they'd whoop her. Yes, sir, beat the devil out of her if she burned that bread. Although Sparks made a distinction between the intensity of punishments that Jenny Brown and her mother chose to inflict, she also suggested that her mistress might have come to follow her mother's methods of slave management if the Civil War had not resulted in the legal end of slavery. So she would have got to be mean like her mama, meaner, if you could call that mean. The lessons of slaveholding parents were only one means by which daughters could learn about proper slave management techniques. The Rosebud, a weekly juvenile newspaper edited by Caroline Gilman and published through the 1830s, was another. Gilman created the Rosebud during a moment of growing tension over the slavery question, and she compiled the content in the newspaper with her own children in mind. She later expanded her vision to include a broader readership. The stories Gilman published in the Rosebud was directed toward male and female readers, though the historian Gail Kinney argues that the education of girls in the Rosebud focused mostly on housework, while lessons for boys centered around balancing filial, F-I-L-I-A-L, filial obedience and white mastery. Regardless of Gilman's intentions, nothing stopped girls from reading the entire issue. A female reader named Julia submitted a letter to the editor describing how much she loved the magazine and mentioning that her female classmates tried to take it from her so they could read it too. Children who read the Rosebud acquired extraordinary insight into the daily practice of slave ownership. They learned about the conduct that defined the character of ideal masters, were offered examples of proper and improper slave management. And they were assured that the ideal plantations were regulated with almost military-like precision. Young female readers came to understand that a planter's daughter feared none but white men. They also came to know what forms of deference they should expect from enslaved people, and were taught that white people referred to enslaved men as boys. They were advised on proper forms of religious instruction for enslaved people, as well as all kinds of funerals and weddings slave owners might permit enslaved people to have. They learned about the pass system, which required enslaved people going from place to place to carry documentation that identified their owners and detailed their travels. And through Gilman's critique of abolitionist literature, her readers even learned how to respond to public assaults upon slavery. In 1835, the abolitionist Catherine Sedgwick wrote a 3-volume novel set during the American Revolution, whose protagonists were the Linwoods, a slaveholding New England family. They owned a woman named Rose, who was very close to their own daughter, to their owner's daughter, Isabella. One day, Isabella asked Rose if she was happy, and Rose replied that she was not because she was a slave. Isabella recounted her parents' kindness towards Rose and remarked how much she and her brother loved her. Rose replied that slavery was a yoke and it galled her. A yoke and it galled her, that she could be bought and sold like cattle. She would die tomorrow to be free today. Seeing Rose's pain, Isabella promised the enslaved woman that she would be free and asked her father if he could manumit her. He refused her request, but through a bit of trickery, Isabella was able to keep her promise to Rose. In response, Carolyn Gilman wrote an op-ed in the Southern Rose, the new name of the Rosebud, that refuted Sedgwick's description of slavery and characterization of enslaved people as embodied by Rose. She argued that it is not true that African slaves pine for free breath. They are the most careless, light-hearted creatures in the world. Without reservation, she believed that the great mass enjoyed the service they rendered, and that Sedgwick did not understand their character. She also questioned why Sedgwick and other Northern women would waste their sympathy on a subject so distant from their sphere of observation. She encouraged these women to come to the South, where Southern ladies would show them happy black faces. Enough, particularly on plantations. Gilman failed to acknowledge that she, like Sedgwick, was Northern born. She also ignored the North's long history of slavery, as well as the fact that even as Sedgwick was writing the Linwoods, and when she herself critiqued it, she could have found African Americans in the North laboring under forms of bondage that resembled enslavement. Gilman also did not seem to realize that Sedgwick was referring to the North's history of slavery in her book, or that Sedgwick did know at least one enslaved person's character quite intimately. In 1781, Catherine's father, Theodore, a prominent Massachusetts lawyer and politician, offered to represent Elizabeth Freeman, an African-descended enslaved woman known as Mum Bet, M-U-M, Mum Bet, B-E-T. In Brom and Bet versus Ashley, Theodore Sedgwick successfully challenged Freeman's enslavement under Massachusetts' 1780 Constitution, which proclaimed that all men were born free and equal. After Freeman won her case, she served the Sedgwick family for the rest of her life and cared for Catherine during her girlhood. The many parallels between Rose's and Freeman's enslavement and eventual manumission suggest that Freeman served as Catherine's inspiration for the Rose character in the Linwoods. Gilman's op-ed, which also criticized Lydia Marie Child's 1833 publication, an appeal in favor of that class of Americans called Africans, was undoubtedly responding to the surge of abolitionist literature written by women. But more important, she was providing her young readers with a ready response to abolitionist attacks on Southern slavery. Enhancing the knowledge gained from slaveholding parents with the lessons that might have acquired by reading The Southern Rose and Rosebud, young white girls learn how to be efficient and effective mistresses. Such guidance equipped young white girls to teach enslaved people the skills necessary to be the kind of servants that they'll need later on. When Ellen Thomas and her mistress, Cornelia Kimball, Kimball, were young girls, Kimball taught Thomas the arts of good housekeeping, including fine sewing. Her training also involved being blindfolded and then being told to go through the motions of serving so that she could learn to do so without disturbing anything on the table. Nancy Thomas, no relation to Ellen Thomas, recalled that she was the special little girl for Mistress Harry's daughter, Palonia, Palonia. Even during them days, I was sewing knit, Nancy Thomas recalled. She went on, I had a little three-legged stool and I'd set it between Polonia's legs while she was sitting down. Then she'd watch me when I knitted. If I'd done something wrong, she'd pinch my ear a little and say, you dropped a stitch, Nanny. As Ellen and Nancy Thomas's testimony shows, Cornelia Kimball and Palonia Smith were mistresses in the making, responsible for overseeing the production of the enslaved girls they would come to own and disciplining them when it did not meet their requirements. We can also imagine that Kimball and Smith were themselves being subjected to a certain kind of discipline. However, the discipline to which they were subjected paled in comparison to the kinds of discipline these enslaved girls might have endured. I am not suggesting that white parents did not inflict corporal punishment on their children, but rather that in these two cases, Kimball's and Smith's behavior conformed to that of other slave-owning women. Their mothers were more likely to encourage them to continue such behavior than to punish them for it. It is important to note that young white Southerners, by virtue of their skin color, were empowered by law and custom to exercise control over any enslaved person they crossed paths with, even those they did not own. Dang, these some long chapters, but hey, we're gonna read this first chapter all day long. Oh yeah, we got like 6 more pages. I can't say we're gonna read 2 chapters tonight. Maybe when we get into it, we'll go to 2 chapters instead of 1. We ain't gonna be all, a whole lot of time and stuff. Oh, okay. Where was we at? Oh shit, don't tell me I lost the page, y'all. It is important to note that young white Southerners, by virtue of their skin color, were empowered by law and custom to exercise control over any enslaved person that they crossed paths with, even those they did not own. The landscape architect Frederick Law Olmsted published an account of his travels throughout the region that included an encounter he had with a Southern girl and an elderly enslaved man. I have seen a girl, 12 years old, in a district where in 10 miles, the slave population was 50 to 1 of the free. Stop. I have seen a girl, 12 years old, in a district where in 10 miles, the slave population was 50 to 1 of the free. Stop an old man on the public road, demand to know where he was going and by what authority, order him to face about and return to his plantation, and enforce her command with turbulent anger when he hesitated by threatening that she would have him well whooped if he did not instantly obey. You get that? That's right. A 12-year-old girl. I have seen a girl, 12 years old, in a district where in 10 miles, the slave population was 50 to 1 of the free. Stop an old man. This 12-year-old girl stopped the old man on the public road, demanded to know where he was going and by what authority, order him to face about and return to his plantation, and enforce her command with turbulent anger when he hesitated with turbulent anger when he hesitated, by threatening that she would have him well whipped if he did not instantly obey her. The man quailed like a spaniel, and she instantly resumed the manner of a lovely child with me, no more apprehending that she had acted unbecomingly than that her character had been influenced by the slave's submission to her caprice of supremacy. To her caprice of supremacy, CAPRICE, caprice of supremacy. No more conscious that she had increased the security of her life by strengthening the habit of the slave to the master race. Then is the sleeping seaman that he tightens his clutch on the rigging as the ship meets each new billow. She was no more conscious that she had increased the security of her life by strengthening the habit of the slave to the master race. Then is the sleeping seaman that he tightens his clutch of the rigging as the ship meets each new billow. When interacting with enslaved people in this way, girls like the one Olmsted encountered learned important lessons about the power of whiteness and its pricelessness. White girls learned one lesson about the value set on different groups of human beings. Enslaved people learned quite another. The historian Dana, Dana Ramey Berry describes the ways in which enslaved children first learned about and reckoned with their bound and unfree status. She argues that the visual cues, including coffles, heading to auctions, the separation of kin and loved ones, and the slave auctions themselves, quickly taught enslaved children where they stood in the Southern hierarchy. White girls also learned about their place in the hierarchy and the inestimable value of their white skins when they witnessed these spectacles. They were present when enslaved families were torn apart in their parents' fields, and they saw slave coffles pass by their homes. They attended slave auctions with their families on court days and sale days. They watched the bidding process unfold, and they heard the wails of the enslaved as they were separated from their loved ones. All around them, white girls found evidence of their difference from and superiority to enslaved people, as well as of the many privileges their whiteness brought them. They recognized who was and who was not chained to others in slave coffles, who was and who was not shrieking and reaching for a child torn from a family's arms. They noticed who was and who was not missing from the fields and the household, and whose absences the remaining enslaved people mourned. All these observations enabled them to understand the chasm between the free and enslaved, between those seen as human merchandise and those seen as human beings, and ultimately to acknowledge the security their whiteness afforded them. But they didn't have no empathy. No, they didn't. They never got no empathy. And you better hope you ain't got to see the day when they ain't got no empathy no more, because it sure look like it. It's coming to that. Although it might be deeply problematic and should be approached with caution, some evidence does suggest that enslaved people sometimes develop caring and perhaps loving relationships with their young owners. But no matter how affectionate relationships between white girls and enslaved people might have been, these young slave owners frequently articulated and exercised their power over their enslaved companions as mistresses in the making. Some girls and young women enthusiastically assumed their roles as mistresses early on in their daily interactions with enslaved people. Some also exhibited signs that they might evolve into brutal ones. A formerly enslaved woman recounted the cruelties that she suffered at the hands of the all-white women in her household. But she dwelt in particular on her encounters with the meanest of her mistress's daughters. Her young mistress, she recalled, would whoop her and then make her kiss the switch that she used to beat her. When parents gave their daughters enslaved people, those daughters assumed a new identity. They became slave owners. Over the course of their lives, they learn valuable lessons about the importance of property and how to be effective slave owners. They also learn how to determine when, if, and in what ways to allow other people to interfere with any aspect of their wealth in slaves. When these young women marry, they put all their knowledge, training, and experience to good use. Frequently, their parents and others would give them additional slaves to mark the occasion. Formerly enslaved people related that they considered this kind of gift giving common, and married women's accounts corroborate their assertions. Enslaved people also remembered slave owning women giving their children human property, which contradicts historian claims that bequests and gifting of enslaved people were practices in which only slave owning men engaged. Try to cover it up about white women, huh? As Julia Casey recalled, her Mrs.'s mammy give me, my mammy, my sister Violet, my two brothers, Andrew and Alfred, to Miss Jenny for a wedding gift. Similarly, Anna R. Ellis gave an enslaved mother and her child to her daughter Rhoda as a wedding present when Rhoda got married. No matter whether they were mothers, granddaughters, grandmothers, aunts, or sisters, slave-owning women gave enslaved people to their female relatives and ensured that they would possess them in their own right forever. For reasons that could have been related to incompatible personalities or economic inefficiency, a slave-owning woman might not approve of the enslaved people her parents gave her when she married. When Adeline Blakely was 5 years old, her master gave her to his daughter Elizabeth as a wedding gift. After settling into her new home, Elizabeth decided that the girl was too little and not enough to help her. She would make another mouth to feed without being economically productive. So she sent Blakely back. Even though Blakely remained in her master's home for another 2 years, Elizabeth still owned her because her father had made a bill of sale for Blakely to his daughter in order to keep account of all settlements. So when he died and the estate was settled, each child would know how he stood. Blakely eventually returned to Elizabeth's home and was responsible for the care of her mistress's children. When Elizabeth's daughter married H.M. Hudgens, Elizabeth gave Blakely to the daughter as a gift, just as her father had given Blakely to her years earlier. Some young women were able to avoid situations like this because their parents permitted them to choose the slaves they wanted to take with them to their new homes. James Winchester, Nashville, Tennessee, wrote to his daughter, Maria Breedlove, informing her that she could have her choice of his negresses to wait upon you. When he did not receive a reply, he followed up with another letter, asking her to let him know which one she wanted. He cautioned her against choosing the two which your mother might not like to part with, although he believed that his wife would probably yield to accommodate Breedlove if she chose one of her mother's personal favorites. Elite members of the planter class presented their children with enslaved people at elaborate events following their wedding processions. The formerly enslaved Bill Homer, Homer, provided a remarkable account of how grand these ceremonies could be. When his mistress, Mary Homer, married William Johnson, her father gave her 50 slaves, and Bill Homer was one of them. Bill recalled that on Mary's wedding day, her father ordered the 50 enslaved people to line up, and he presented them to Mary by saying, "For to give my loving daughter this start, I give you these 50 niggers." Mary's new father-in-law presented his son with 50 enslaved people as well, with just as much ceremony. These affairs also underscored the economic relationship between slaves and young white women's coming of age, because white parents often sold enslaved people in order to help finance their daughters' weddings. Ben Johnson's master, for example, sold Ben's brother Jim in order to pay for his daughter's wedding dress. Transactions such as these served as a brutal lesson for the other enslaved people in Ben Johnson's community, and an equally important one for the new bride. She could always sell one of her slaves, separating him or her from everything and everyone he or she knew and loved, if a more pressing need, like the purchase of a dress, arose. Even after marriage, white slave-owning parents and other kin offered their daughters and female family members enslaved people as gifts. When Kitty Stanford was 10, her female owner, Mrs. Lindsay, transported her to her daughter Etta's house and gave her to Etta so that she could care for Etta's baby. Stanford remembered Mrs. Lindsay saying to Etta, "I bought you a little nigger gal to rock the cradle." In her account, Stanford said nothing about whether her own mother came with her to Etta's home, so she probably did not. But Stanford's old mistress seemed unconcerned about the distress that Kitty's separation from her own mother would bring. Slave-owning mothers' deeds of gifts, like the ones devised by Ann V. Hicks of Marlboro District, South Carolina, on August 17, 1831, not only offer more concrete support for enslaved people's claims that their owners gave them to married daughters, they also show that these property transfers preserved their daughters' legal titles to the slaves as well. Hicks drew up a deed of gift that conveyed 6 enslaved people and their future children to her 3 married daughters. It stipulated that she gave these enslaved people to them without any right in the husbands, which they now have or may hereafter have, to exercise any control over said property or in any manner to intermeddle therewith. The deed also expressed Hicks' intention to convey a separate and exclusive interest in the said Negroes to her daughters and their children, without subjecting them in any manner to liability on account of any contracts of their husbands. Ooh. So, in other words, the white woman running things when it's hers, yeah. A lot of these white women were running things. They wouldn't even give the husband no say so in the plantation. He couldn't do nothing. I know it's saying the movies and stuff showed that it was the white man doing all these atrocities. Oh no, not like we think. No, it wasn't the white man like we thought it was. They were doing it equally. You best to believe that, equally, honey. Hicks envisioned a certain kind of life for her daughters, one that did not leave them subject to whatever financial blunders their husbands might make. She also sought to grant them a measure of economic stability that might extend beyond their first marriages and into any subsequent marriages. Hell, how many marriages were they supposed to have? But she wanted to make sure that they had slaves and that they was always taken care of. I'm just saying, they went all out with it. I do believe what our elder said, that it was never a slavery like American slavery. Other parents, such as Theodore Bland of Virginia, took similar precautions. In 1784, after his daughter Frances married St. George Tucker, he drew up a deed of gift that indicated that he had given several enslaved people to Frances. It was a parole, P-A-R-O-L. It was a parole or oral gift, however, and not a written property transfer. In order to ensure its legality, he devised a formal written deed of gift that confirmed his earlier gift to Frances and granted the slaves to her for her sole and separate use and benefit. When family and kin gave women slaves for their sole and separate use and control, They often had specific ideas about how they wanted them to use the property. But women like Catherine V. Phillips frequently had plans of their own. When Phillips gave birth to her first child, her brother James Anthony gave her a 12-year-old enslaved girl named Charlotte by deed of gift for her sole and separate use during her lifetime. He did this to relieve her in part from the drudgery to which, in her situation, motherhood, she was subjected to. I told them they didn't want to take care of themselves. Never. They so sick of defending and taking care of themselves and tending to themselves. They done invented these robots to do it. But it looked like to me. He did this to relieve her in part from the drudgery to which her situation of motherhood she was subjected to. He placed Charlotte and any children she might have in a separate trust for Phillips. Her family continued to grow, and to help her perform her maternal and household duties, her brother-in-law, Weldon Phillips, also gave her a 16-year-old enslaved girl named Louisa for her sole and separate use, as he directed that Louisa should be free from the direction or control of Catherine's husband, and under no event to become liable for his debts or contracts. This he did even or especially though her husband was then somewhat embarrassed. Catherine Phillips did not use her slaves as her donors imagined she would. She established a boarding house with funds she brought into the marriage, and instead of having Charlotte and Louisa assist her in household and maternal duties, she set them to work in her new business and used them to sell her poultry and dairy products. Her business activities, along with Charlotte and Louisa's earnings, brought Catherine enough profit to buy a 45-year-old enslaved man named Handy from one A.M. Clanton. She paid Clanton $200 up front, and after full consultation with her and under her instructions, Catherine's husband delivered the balance of what she owed from funds she provided to him. When Clanton drew up the bill of sale, it reserved Handy in trust for Catherine's sole and separate use. While parents presented their daughters with both enslaved males and females as inheritance upon marriage, they more frequently gave them female slaves. From a logical perspective, their decision to do so might seem motivated by the rationale that enslaved women and girls would be more useful to daughters who bore the bulk of the domestic responsibilities in and management of their household. And sometimes this was the case. But they also gave enslaved girls and women, especially those of childbearing age, to their daughters because females possessed the reproductive capacity to add to their daughters' labor force. And if they didn't have no black man on the plantation to sleep with, the white man was raping them. Of course, slaveholders in the colonial period did not value enslaved females' reproduction in the ways that their counterparts would in the 19th century. In the colonial period, especially before the abolition of the African slave trade to America in 1808, many slave owners discouraged enslaved women from reproducing. They considered enslaved infants to be time-consuming financial burdens who prevented their mothers from devoting all their attention to white households. So, like this white lady that only had these few slaves, the white women that only had a few slaves and stuff, were they the ones that told the white man to go and rape the black women, or did he do it on his own? Because, whatever had that come to be, white women hated black women because of whether she sent him out there to rape them or she condoned him raping them, because it would give her more babies, more slaves, if that slave woman got pregnant. They were her property too. That's what the book said. I'll just ask you. Yeah. Of course, slaveholders in the colonial period did not value enslaved females' reproduction in the ways that their counterparts would in the 19th century. In the colonial period, especially before the abolition of the American slave trade to America in 1808, many slave owners discouraged enslaved women from reproducing. They considered enslaved infants to be time-consuming financial burdens who prevented their mothers from devoting all their attention to their white households. Slave owners often sold such women simply because they were conceiving and delivering children too frequently. After 1808, however, when slave owners could no longer depend upon a steady supply of newly imported African captives, they had to rely on a domestic supply of enslaved laborers, and they became invested in the natural reproduction of the enslaved labor force. Hence, they increasingly sought women who could reproduce and had already given birth to healthy children. By the third and fourth decades of the 19th century, slave owners prized enslaved females of childbearing age, affixed high values to them because of their ability to bear children, and came to see them as sound investments that would augment their wealth with little effort or additional expense. A parent's decisions to give their daughter a female as opposed to a male slave, however, could also be made because the parent was more concerned about the daughter's well-being than her husband's. When Mary Lindsay's mistress married Bill Merrick, her father would not give her any enslaved men or boys as part of her inheritance. And Lindsay wondered why. When she asked her mistress about her father's decision, her mistress speculated that her father had given her female slaves because he didn't want to help her husband out none, but just wanted to help her. If he gave her a man, her husband would have him working in the blacksmith shop. Ain't that something? If he gave her a man, her husband would have him working in the blacksmith shop. Pragmatism and parental concern was only two reasons why slave-owning parents tended to give their daughters female slaves. They were legal and financial justifications too. By the 1660s, colonies such as Virginia and Maryland enacted laws that ensured children inherited the bound or free condition of their mothers. Other colonies followed suit in law or in custom. They further provided that whoever owned an enslaved woman also owned her offspring, regardless of who owned the father of the children she bore. Exceptions were sometimes made, however, if both owners were willing. Slave-owning parents knew about the legal and pecuniary benefits of owning enslaved women, and so did their daughters. Enslaved men, particularly those in the most productive years, possessed a higher value in slave markets because they were strong, skilled laborers, and in this sense, they were exceptional financial investments in the short term. But over the long term, enslaved women, because of the children they would potentially produce over the course of their lives, were far more valuable. If slave owners were patient, producing children was a cheap alternative to purchasing them at the market. Henrietta Butler's mistress, Emily Haidee, Haidee, clearly knew the value that enslaved women possessed, and she developed two long-term financial strategies to maximize their worth. She not only forced Butler's mother to engage in non-consensual sex with enslaved men so she could have babies all the time, she made Butler do the same. When the coerced sexual liaisons that Haidee orchestrated produced offspring, she was known for selling the boys and keeping the gals. Multiple generations of women could benefit from their elders' decisions to keep enslaved women and girls. 3 generations of enslaved women in the Lanier family served as nurses to Aaron and Frances Hudson Haney's female descendants. Yeah, you heard that right. 3 generations of enslaved women in the Lanier family, Linier, served as nurses to Aaron and Frances Hudson Haney's female descendants. Lucy Leonard nursed Aaron and Frances' daughter Anne. Lucy's daughter Patsy, in turn, nursed Anne's children, and Patsy's daughter Emmy Emma nursed the children of Ann's daughter, Fanny. Generation after generation, slave-owning women benefited from the reproductive and maternal labor of the enslaved women they owned. A woman's interest in the reproduction of the enslaved women she owned could manifest in calculated and methodical ways. In their letters, diaries, and family Bibles, mistresses tabulated gains and losses in the wealth that was bound up in the bodies of the infants and the children that they owned. And when these mistresses died, the pecuniary advantage to owning enslaved women emerged in their wills and estate inventories, the documents that revealed the natural increase of their slave holdings. Rachel O'Connor was a large-scale Louisiana slave owner and planter. And between 1826 and 1844, she offered an often joyful and proud accounting of the enslaved infants born on her plantation on 20 separate occasions. In most of these passages, she merely identified which woman gave birth and indicated whether the infants were born healthy or otherwise. But several of her notations made it clear why she was so meticulous in her tabulations. These infants were future laborers, and they increased her wealth. During this time, O'Connor owned almost twice as many enslaved women and girls, 53, as she did men and boys, 28. 25 of the enslaved females O'Connor owned were identified as women aged 15 years and older, while the remaining were identified as girls aged 2 to 13. So they were calling our young 15-year-olds women. And right today, we can look out there in any media, news outlet, whatever, they treat our children like they grown. They refer to them as adults. According to the family parents noted in the inventory, half of the 81 people O'Connor owned were the offspring of the enslaved women on her plantation. When O'Connor died, her estate was valued at over $30,000. Her slaves were worth 84% of her total wealth. Her ass was worth $30,000. Her slaves, accounted for $27,875. Other women, such as the Louisiana divorcee Jane Kemp, K-E-M-P, also left no doubt about the importance of these women and their reproductive capabilities when they compiled lists of the slaves they owned. Kemp emphasized their value by creating a separate list of women with families. White women's prideful exclamations about the offspring that enslaved women produced frequently took on a more ritualistic aspect when they put enslaved children on display for their guests. Whenever Ryer Emanuel's mistress, Miss Ross, entertained visitors, she would gather together all the enslaved children she owned so her guests could admire her. According to Emanuel, her mistress would turn them to her guests and ask, "Ain't I got a pretty crop of little niggas coming on?" Emanuel remembered that there were so many enslaved children that the yard would be black with all different sizes. Her mistress chose a rather crass manner of expressing her pride in the growing group of laborers, but she was one of many slave-owning women who routinely told their friends and family about the births and maturation of enslaved children on their estates. Ooh, y'all, we almost done. Yeah, we just got 2 pages. 1.5, really. Enslaved people grew to recognize white women's interest in their reproduction and the value they placed on it. One formerly enslaved woman remembered overhearing her mistress tell a prospective buyer that she wouldn't sell her for nothing and wouldn't take $2,000 for it because she was her little breeder. In another community, a white traveler named Eli West remembered one enslaved woman who simply could not or would not conceive. After she continually failed to become pregnant, her mistress had her stripped naked and whipped her severely. When this brutality proved ineffectual in remedying the problem, her mistress sold a woman to slave traders. And you know, some women took herbs to not get pregnant, so they wouldn't get pregnant. Medical innovations have made us more knowledgeable about reproduction than those who lived in the 19th century could ever be. We now know that a host of environmental and physiological factors could have interfered with an enslaved woman's capacity to reproduce. Despite the fact that this was widely assumed in the case of white women, slave owners acted as though enslaved females' ability to carry their pregnancies to full term and deliver healthy infants was a certainty. In spite of copious evidence to the contrary, slave owners counted on the probability that these things would happen. As the historian Jennifer Morgan had demonstrated for the colonial period, slave owners' preoccupation with enslaved women's issue and increase persisted in the face of data showing high rates of infant mortality and infertility and low rates of childbirth among women of childbearing age. The historian Richard Follett's examination of fertility rates on Louisiana sugar plantations in the 19th century supports Morgan's findings. He found that the labor required to cultivate sugar had deleterious effects upon enslaved women's quality of life, their life expectancy, and most especially, their capacity to reproduce. Frances Ann Kimball described similar reproductive difficulties among the enslaved women who worked the lands that her husband owned in Georgia. In addition to physical ailments and arduous labor conditions, nutritional deprivation affected the fertility of enslaved women, as had been shown by the historians Edward Baptist and Walter Johnson. Baptist tracked the brutal intensification. Baptists tracked the brutal intensification of labor that slave owners required of enslaved people in the West, and Johnson determined that enslaved people barely received the calories necessary to perform a fraction of the work demanded of them on a daily basis, let alone facilitate conception and sustain the unborn. This was undoubtedly why many enslaved women, such as the one Eli West described, failed to conceive. West stayed with the mistress who owned this woman for a year and remarked on the near starvation, beatings, and unceasing labor on her plantation. White slave-owning women did not want to leave enslaved reproduction, or infant health to chance. They tried to create more favorable working and living conditions for enslaved women that might enable them to carry their pregnancies to term and give birth to viable infants. They also took great care to nurture enslaved infants and children and keep them healthy. As enslaved people told it, these mistresses often had profit in mind. White slave-owning women further underscored their investments in the children enslaved women bore when they made efforts to provide for their nutritional and physical needs. While such actions might seem benevolent or maternalistic, the economic advantages of caring for the children they enslaved often motivated these women's choices, and frequently these mistresses had their eyes on the slave market. Sally Powell reasoned that the slave owners in her community fed enslaved children well in large part because they wanted to make them hurry and grow, because they would want to hurry and increase their property. John Brown's experience gives credit to her assertion. Brown's mistress, Betty Moore, would summon all the enslaved children to the big house each morning and give each of them a dose of garlic and rue, and that's a medicinal plant used to treat a variety of ailments. To keep them physically fit, she would order them to run around the great sycamore tree in the yard. When the children did not run fast enough to suit her, she would crack a cowhide whip at them, a disciplinary tool she kept by her side at all times. Brown said that she did this to keep them wholesome and to make them grow likely for market. That's it. We finished chapter 1. Oh, my eyes hurt. We finished chapter 1. Ooh, wait. I don't know if you want to tell Sabrina to come on and sit in here or not. I don't know. We can't heal her anyway. Yeah, this for you. This is for you. Yeah, this for you and me. This for us. This ain't for white folks. If they do find their way in here, maybe they can face what they need to face within themselves. That they've been handed down to them in their body's memory. Like we receive, our bodies have a memory. Our body got a memory. And our brother, who was it? Anthony Browder said that the new science is called epigenesis, or whatever you say the word is and stuff. They discovered that we have DNA, we have body memory going back to 30,000 years of our ancestors. So, yeah, white folks find themselves in here or whatever is neither here nor there, though, but they need to go within themselves and face these demons that's in them from their ancestors. I'm so glad we did that, y'all. Let's see how we did on time. Ooh, 10 minutes. You know, it do take me a long time to read. You know, and I'll get better. Yeah, I will. I'll get better. But let's just read us a little gratitude and a song here, because we got to process this too. We got to process this. I mean, you can't just sleep on this, go to sleep and stuff. You're going to have to do something with it. And whether you sing your song, give some gratitude to your ancestors, you know, free your ancestors. Forgive your ancestors. I ain't forgiving white folks. I don't forgive their ass for nothing. I forgive my ancestors. I forgive my ancestors for trusting in them. I forgive my ancestors for, you know, for believing and waiting and believing and waiting. You know, they did all they could. But I forgive them for even contemplating and thinking that, you know, after slavery especially, that, you know, that white folks still were the overall, because they never been the overall and they never will be. Hell, if we couldn't help heal their motherfucking ass, Sophia the robot ain't. They don't want to be healed. At this point right here, they don't want to be mankind or humanity. No. So let's just have us some gratitude, y'all. You know, I try to keep gratitude. We got to have some gratitude. I always give gratitude. When you give gratitude and stuff, that's just going to bring your abundance, and you need it right now. We need it right now. I'm going to have to be grateful for faith. Yeah, so I can get more faith coming in for me and stuff. I'm going to make me a gratitude list. And I know you were telling me about it, Ashby. It take me a minute to get that. But yeah, I'm going to make me my own gratitude list. You know, I always tell y'all what, sometimes my gratitude is my paycheck. It might be some groceries in there, but I still ain't even bought no groceries. But, you know, whatever it is, you be grateful for it, because it's going to bring you more of that same. Yeah, so gratitude, y'all. Gratitude shields you from negativity. Can't nothing make you revel and just stay in that negative. It just slide right off you like, yeah, just let it slide right off you, because you're too grateful. You so grateful. Whatever they throw at you that's negative and stuff, it don't stick. It's like, it just, yeah, it fall right off, just roll right off your back instead. That's what gratitude do to you. Gratitude, y'all, is so phenomenal. Let me tell you about it. Gratitude makes you at least 25% happy. We should have been learning this when we were kids. When we were young, we should have been learning this. Then we would have always been grateful for something. Hopefully the good and the positive, you know. And yeah, gratitude makes you at least 25% happier. Because we, as a people, as a collective, we look for our happiness everywhere else. We look for it with white folks. Yeah. We look for it with shopping, with eating, with just goofing off and other people and stuff. We need to look for our happiness within ourselves. See, and then you letting your gratitude give you happiness ain't got to go nowhere. Can't nobody take that from you. Ain't nobody gonna leave. A person will leave you. People move. People pass away. People change. You know, different dynamics in life. But if you got a hold of your gratitude, can't nobody take it away from you. It's yours. They don't know what you're thinking about. What they gonna do? Come up to you, so Facebook, you thinking about gratitude today? No, people don't know. See, gratitude is yours. You got to use it. Grab it. Whatever it is tonight that you're grateful for, grab it because it's yours. And you can have more than one. You can have more. I'm grateful for my paycheck. I'm grateful for my food, and I'm grateful for my car. I'm grateful for my lights. Whatever. I'm grateful for my children, my family, my community, whatever it is. You can have more than one. As many as you can think of. The more the merrier. Right? Because that right there just means you get more abundance coming. You get more prosperity coming to you from gratitude. Gratitude loves you. It loves me. Gratitude rewires your brain. You ain't going to sit there and keep thinking about the same old rut in the road. No, you're going to be thinking about ways to get around it, ways to get over, ways you can make do without it, ways you can supplement it. Gratitude rewires your brain. I'm just saying, like, if you don't pay that bill, your light's going to get cut off Friday at 5 o'clock. And you know this. And so, see, instead of you just sitting there, today, Monday, might be Wednesday. It don't matter, what the day is. The thing that matters is you got to practice being grateful for that because it's going to rewire your brain. And Friday, but Monday morning, you'll have the lights back on when your check bounce. When your check hit, then you'll be able to get the lights back on, right? It's just three days. Some of us have had the lights off for months, weeks at a time. So them few days right there, you be grateful that that's all it is. You be grateful that soon as Monday come around and your check hit, you can go get your lights on. Just be grateful for it. Because see, what's going to happen is your brain is going to give you some new rewiring, some routes, some resources so you can deal with that. Now, yeah, you might not be able to go to the church and get it paid. You probably can if you're in rough. I'm just saying, go to all of them. Shit, I'm just saying. But, you can, take them babies to the grandmother. And let the grandmother know, lights going to be cut off for the weekend stuff. I'll be together Monday noon time when the check hit and I get the lights on and stuff. And I'm going to go clean the house up and wash the clothes and stuff. Like, do what you got to do. If that's an option. If it ain't, and them babies got to stay with you, then I suggest you go ahead and clean that refrigerator in that house before them lights get cut off and stuff, Set y'all up where you're going to be okay. Go get you some candles. Go get you some canned goods that you ain't got to heat up and stuff because your ass ain't got no lights now. So even your little skillet ain't going to work. The crock pot ain't going to work unless you got you a portable power station. And we're going to talk about that too. But, you can think of ways to do it and let your neighbor know, yeah, girl, shit, they cut my damn lights off. I'm going to have to run my extension cord through your window again. So, shit, hell, you been living by for 7 years. She done did it for you. You done did it for her. You just get through the weekend. Okay? Just try to get through the weekend. So that's what gratitude do. It give you other options. So you ain't just sitting there and just down on yourself. You can even just take your bill. Take your bill and tape it up on your help me please, whatever you can help, honey, and go stand right out there. I bet you somebody come through. Ooh, sis, I go, this all it is, $115. Ooh, girl, I can pay all that for you. Come on. And we're going to go over here to this parking lot. I'm going to call it and pay your bill for you. See, just be grateful. That's all I'm saying. Shit, ain't nobody never tell me. Not like this. Now, I know they're like, girl, why don't you be grateful sometime? Well, come on, give me a little more than that now. Make it where, it's worthy to us. We can see the benefit in it. Being grateful, y'all, it eliminates stress. It heals you. Being grateful improves your sleep. You can sleep like a baby because you got some options for Friday when they cut them lights off. Until then, you got some options Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday because you're going to hit every church around here in this district. You're going to stand on every corner and get your light bill paid. If you got to move from one side to the other side, I can't give you but $10. That's all right. I'll take 10 and move on to the other side. Gratitude. You sleep like a baby because you're getting things done. Gratitude, y'all, can boost your self-esteem and your performance. Don't nobody know why you out there hitting the high 10. Don't nobody know. Oh, damn, you making production today, ain't you? Because where I'm from and stuff, you have to make production. A lot of places up here, I imagine you got to make production. If you don't make production and stuff, then yeah, they gonna fire your ass. And so, people don't know why you doing, oh yeah, you getting production, ain't you? You old production now, ain't your face? I used to like when they used to say that to me when I was a seamstress. When I was 15, I was a teenage mother and I had to work in the factory. And my great aunties was seamstresses. So I just did what they did. And yeah, oh yeah, you overproduction now, ain't your face? Yeah, I sure am. But yeah, gratitude, it boosts your self-esteem and your performance. Can't nobody take gratitude from you. That's your secret weapon now. It's mine. Gratitude, y'all, it enhances the law of attraction. What you want wants you. Go on and be grateful for it so it can come on to you. It ain't going nowhere else. It's for you. Everybody got their own. Everybody got their own. So even if somebody do try to reroute yours, it's still gonna come to you. See, you got to get on it. So can't nobody reroute it. Yeah, you got to get on it so it'll come straight to you. Gratitude, y'all, improves relationships. Everybody wants somebody that's gonna be grateful to them. Everybody want. Even if it's just to say, "Hey, I'm grateful for you. I appreciate you. I'm glad you're here. Here, taste that." Everybody wants somebody in their life like that. People are sick and tired of the negative Nancy's, the manipulative Mikes. People are sick and tired of that shit right there. White folks done enough of that to us. People just want somebody that's going to be grateful to them, respectful for them, and loyal to them. That's it, and that's all, pretty much. And please let us talk about our people. Let us talk about Black people. I know y'all, we going fast now. This right here is how your body reacts to singing. Singing heals you. Our music got so much power in it, y'all. That's why it's fucked up now. That's why they got y'all listening to all that bullshit now. Y'all ought to be so appalled. You ought to close down all your damn playlists. I'm just saying, all that mumble trap and shit, you ought to be like, I'm done with this shit. Because now you know what's going on. You ought to start waking up your friends and your family, your community. That's why we're here. That's why I'm here. When we can't get together like this anymore, if it happened like that, hell, we don't know what they folks got planned and stuff. Then our mind's eye should be woke enough where we can continue these life changes that we making. We got to change our whole life, our whole lifescape. You know how you got your landscape and your neighbors and stuff. When you were kids, you would see them out there every Christmas. They got to see who got the biggest landscape. Then Halloween, who got the biggest decorations. Easter, Mother's Day, every holiday. This summertime come out, she got to get new flowers and shit. They digging up the dirt. Now they pulling up the bricks. All of this right here. We got to do this right here for us, for our life. It's a lifescape. Yeah, we got to do a whole new lifescape. Everything, y'all. So how your body reacts to healing, y'all. Your heart, when you sing joyful, expressive songs, it'll nourish your heart. It'll balance your emotions and uplift your spirits. Yes, that's music right there. That's your heart. You should always have a song in your heart. You better sing somebody's song, sing your mama's song or somebody. Now, don't go up here singing Beyonce's Halo. I like Halo. Halo is good. I'm just saying you don't want to end up singing Up in This Club and all that stuff. That's the wrong song. You're going to have to go back to your mom and your daddy music if you don't know. I'm just saying you're going to have to go back to your mom and dad. I was born in the 70s, so I don't have no problem with that. I do not have no problem with it. Your lungs, when you singing, it helps expand your lungs and improve your oxygen intake. Because I already told y'all, I think all y'all asses is breathing like white folks. You is. Yep, Black America is. I find myself breathing like white folks sometimes. I have to remind myself to breathe. We supposed to be taking deep breaths. That's why our nostrils so big. We keep on, Black America, you keep on, your nostril gonna be that tiny. Give yourself 5, 10, 15 years. Your nostril gonna be that damn tiny because you're taking these little shallow breaths. We supposed to breathe. We supposed to breathe with intention. That's it. Yeah. So when you singing and stuff, music, you singing and you hitting the high note and stuff, it's just to helping to expand your lungs and improve your oxygen intake. We need oxygen, Black people. When you take them deep breaths, you inhale deeply. Your stomach should expel out. I wish I wasn't hungry. I can show you. Yeah, I ain't ate in a few hours. But when you inhale, your stomach should come out. When you exhale it out, hold it for 4 seconds. When you exhale it out slowly, your stomach should go in and it should actually touch your back. That's how you breathe. Yeah. I know I'm learning it too. Because I didn't know either. But then once it resonated, that hell no. I got to do some live scaping. It is what it is. I ain't fighting it, and you shouldn't either. Your liver. Did y'all know singing helps regulate emotions like frustration, anger, and stress right on out your liver? Everything is accumulating in your liver. Like all that medicine you taking, your mama, your auntie, your cousin, we see them all over the place. You can't even go out to eat with them and stuff. They got to bring all them pills and stuff because they got to take the medicines. Well, the medicines and stuff is accumulating in your liver. And that's just like frustration, anger, and stress. Yep. It's all accumulating in your liver and stuff. Now, I can't help you with that the medicine accumulating. You're going to have to talk to Brother Yaqui. Don't you stop taking that shit, though. You be no fell over dead. You seen some of them damn side effects on them pills they got y'all taking and stuff. Because when I was going to let them, when I let them pour my 2, and they motherfucking ass poured all of them. And I had high blood pressure. So I had to wait to go get my 2 pulled. And by then it was so bad and stuff when they said, we got to take these 2. I was like, take all them motherfuckers. Motherfuckers just tricked me again. And what happened was, forgot what yeah, they did though. They tricked me again and stuff. But your liver, it's got all that frustration, anger, and stress in it. Sing some music. Sing back to back to back if you ain't got but 1 or 2 songs. Sing your mama song, your daddy song. We know our auntie and them song. I don't care if it's Zap and Roger. Just singing and stuff so to get all that frustration, that anger, and all that stress right on out of you. When you see sister, and you see sister every day, negative Nancy. And she didn't used to always be like that and stuff. But maybe she have always been like that and stuff. And you know her on sight. She know you on sight. You probably speak to her and she be like, fuck you, shit. She probably ain't really even giving you no attention and stuff. But now things is changing. Now there's an awakening taking place. So you're going to have to use that to your advantage. You ain't got to get up in her face and ask her, what's your favorite song? No, you best want to stand a few feet away and just be like, what's your favorite song? Or start singing your favorite song. If she don't say nothing, guess what her favorite song is and stuff. Just try to break the ice with us as a people because we need us more now than ever before. We just got all of this built up inside of us and we need to get rid of it. We need to find out what's wrong with our roots. What's the root cause of all of this that we going through? I'm just saying, for me. And last but not least, your kidneys. Singing can strengthen kidney energy by fostering vocal expression. Honey, when you hitting them high notes, your kidneys is too. Your kidneys is too because it's mimicking them vocal expressions that you making and stuff. So see, it's all about the vibrations. Music is a key for us. Did you know music activates all the parts of your brain? Not just 1 or 2. Music activates every part of your brain more than sex and food. And like people that like rushes, well, I would say addiction too. But I'm thinking like on the roller coaster. Stunt men and stuff like Evel Knievel and people that like to do high risky stuff like skiing and sledding and shit like that down a big old hill and stuff. Well, music activate your entire brain. Stuff like that don't even activate your entire brain. Stuff like that probably shutting your brain the fuck down. I'm pretty sure it is and stuff. But yeah, music, it's all in the music. It's all in the key. That's why we got to get back to our music for our people. And see, our music hit different for everybody else. Our music is not for everyone else. That's why white folks, they take it, they steal it, they look like they can benefit from it, but they can't. All they ask can do is dance to the title. That's all they can do, dance to the title. Well, some of them can dance like y'all ask because you're teaching them. But I'm just saying, it's neither here nor there tonight. And that's it. And then, we do got our 15-minute shakes. As I get to learn about that and stuff, we will be incorporating that in because we do need to have a little physical, outlet too. And then, I've been learning to stand on my head too, like brother was saying for us to do. I could do that. I don't know if you can or not. If you can't, then we're going to get up with the shakings. And it's just 15-minute shake. I can't do it now, but yeah. I'm going to get better with it. We're going to add that to it, just for a little physicality. So we can have these tools we can work on and stuff, You stretch and shake and stuff before you run and work out and stuff, you see people doing it. You got to stretch before you work out and stuff. That's all it is. Just giving us a little physical, options too. So we're going to have singing, gratitude and, releasing that physical tension and stuff just by the little shakes and stuff. Oh, and I think her name is Apologetic on Instagram. I forgot what it was, but it's something like that. And I'll look it up again and write it down on one of these right here, since I be reading them all the time, right? Because I wrote it down right here. And it's just going to help you distress. It's going to help you discharge excess cortisol, metabolize suppressed emotions. Yep. Just this little 15, 20 seconds shake. Just 15, 20 seconds. It's going to reduce psychological and physical tension. It's going to help reset your nervous system. Yeah, and I didn't write her name down, but I will the next time as soon as I go home there and find her. And I love y'all, and I thank y'all, and our ancestors are so happy. They're so proud. I know they're hoping that we hold our focus for them. I hope. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I know they're hoping that we just hold our focus for them and give them a chance to come and save us now. We got to call on them now. When we going to call on our ancestors? I mean, damn shit, everybody calling on everybody else. I think all y'all should call on all of the higher powers. You call on hers, you call on his. All y'all call on each other's higher powers. And so we're going to get that out the way. And then can we please call on our ancestors? That's all I'm saying. Just think about it. Just add them when you give praise and stuff to your higher power, whoever it is. All right, whoever it is. Just add your ancestors in there. That might be easier anyway, right? Yeah. But yes, good night, and I love you all. Have a wonderful evening. Oh, what's this? Some music? Tank and the Bankers. Bankers, you are special. George Duke, Buffalo Soldier. Amber Mark, my people. Hey there, Map Draw. I'm going to have to go back on here and get back to my comments and stuff because that's how I get a lot of my lessons and stuff too. Thank you, Faith, again for reading for all of us. I shall send you more music after the reading. Thank you so much. Yes, I love reading to us. I never thought I would be reading to my people, but I knew I wanted to talk to my people. So, yeah, it is what it is. I love y'all, and I'll see you all on the next